Welcome to the News Belt. Thank you for staying with us on the AM show. In our first story, a medical laboratory scientist at the Upper West Regional Hospital, Derry, Victor Nwintori, is worried about the shortage of blood at the facility. He says the situation has made it difficult to treat emergency cases. He spoke at a blood donation exercise held in Wa as part of the 20th anniversary celebration of the National Health Insurance Authority. Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
According to a medical laboratory scientist at the Upper Regional Hospital, Derry Victor Nwintori, the regional hospital for some time now has a deficit in their blood bank. The number of persons who needs blood has outnumbered the blood available at the bank.
We are running at a deficit. So what happens is that because we don't have blood in stock, people who comes and their relative come to donate. When there's an emergency, we give those blood out and then we ask the other relatives to also come and replace. We don't have blood in stock. So if there's an emergency, it's always a dying listen. Just as it is everywhere in the country, blood is very essential, but getting it is problematic. And to our side of the country, there are a lot of viral infections around. We have this Hep B, Hep C, which are very predominant in our settings. So many people comes willing to donate, but because of those viral infections, they are disqualified. And our women are always very willing to, but because of their menstrual cycle and then their hemoglobin level as the month goes by, they are also disqualified. So in actual fact, it is dying. We just need help.
He commended the National Health Insurance Authority, NHIA, for initiating the blood donation exercise as part of the authority's 20th anniversary celebration.
To really help, because as we are getting, even if we get 100 pints of blood, by the end of next week, everything would have been gone. Because we are the referral center, we take cases from all over the region and even beyond. So because of that, the blood is always on high demand. So if we don't get constant supplies, the patient-relative replacement is not helping us because most of the people are coming from so far. And then it is difficult for them to actually transport people from where they are to the regional hospital blood bank for the donation. So when they come, it's always difficult to get the blood for them. So we are actually running on a heavy deficit at the blood bank. We are not having enough blood for the patient who comes.
Scores of students of the War Technical Institute, officials of the NHIA, and some members of the public took part in the exercise. It was held on the theme 20 years of care, one pint at a time, donate for life. Upper West Regional Director of the NHIA, Samuel Lobe, says the blood donation exercise is a clear demonstration of the commitment of the authority to serve the people of Ghana.
To demonstrate further how committed we are to protecting lives and guaranteeing financial risk protection for everybody resident in Ghana. And you know, whoever that is ready to give you blood is simply saying that if I have life, I will give it to you.
Reporting for J News, Rafiq Salam. Wa.
Now, the president of the Bono East Regional House of Chiefs and paramount chief of the Yeji Traditional Council, Pim Yao Kagbese IV, has actually charged the Regional Security Council to expedite its steps towards resolving the dispute between the Wangara and Mo communities in the Kintampo North Enclave. This follows a recent conflict between the two factions ahead of this year's Kurbi festival, which led to the death of one person. And Asabit has more in this report.
The traditional ruler, who doubles as the paramount chief of the Yeji Traditional Council and the president of the Bono East Regional House of Chiefs, Pim Yao Kagbese V, charged the Regional Security Council, headed by the Bono East Regional Minister, to fast-track its conflict resolution measures within the Kintampo North municipality to help prevent what he described as a tribal conflict between the Wangra and Mo communities in the area.
This kind of tribal issue, it used to happen. Tribal issues are always erupted during dry season. just like this case, Mo case, Kintampo case, the way it is now, if the RESEC should not double their steps, it will be escalated. And we'll find it difficult to bring it under control.
His call comes after an earlier clash between the two factions led to the death of one person in the build-up to this year's Krubi festival. Pimampem Yao Kagbese V wants the involvement of the military in the region's quest to ensuring a lasting peace in the Kintampo area.
So if the RESEC is trying to do it and they are facing challenges, they should try and then consult the military so that they will be added to police, so that the reinforcement will be able to control the issue of this issue.
He further warned that the conflict has what it takes to spill to other parts of the region, noting that it goes beyond a mere chieftaincy dispute.
So what we are seeing, we should not joke with it, because it can spread all over, not in Bono East alone. So conflict zone, especially conflict zone, Kintampo seems to be a conflict zone some time ago. So my advice is that the regional minister should rekindle his efforts to have this military, in addition to the police, to combat the situation. If not that, we will not find ourselves in a better situation.
There is, however, a relative calm in the area, with security enhanced in the municipality ahead of the climax of the Krubi festival, which is slated to take place on the 26th of November this year. Anna Sabit, Joy News, Teaching.
Now, next story. Magdan Aviation has been granted an official air operator certificate by the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority. Officials of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority believe the granting of the AOC to the local operator will help the company expand in order to create substantial job opportunities. There's more in this report.
The Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, GCAA, the regulatory body overseeing civil aviation activities in Ghana, on Tuesday, November 21, 2023, welcomed Magdan Aviation into the commercial airline sector by granting it the Air Operator Certificate, AOC. During the presentation ceremony, the Deputy Director General in charge of technical at the GCAA, Daniel Aqua, commended the Magdan Group for its unwavering dedication to excellence and significant contribution to the logistics industry.
Magdan Aviation Limited is officially certified to operate as an airline, but it's doing charters, private charters. It's not a scheduled airline, but it's doing private charters. Magdan has a private jet as well as another business aircraft, which is a propeller, but its performance is as good as a jet aircraft. We had to do due diligence, take Magdan Aviation through the necessary certification process. We have a 5-phase process, and Magdan has been able to satisfy all the 5 phases. From today, Magdan can operate, legally. In the past, there was some form of arrangements. Yeah, that is also allowed within the industry, but that doesn't make it a full Ghanaian airline. But from today, it's a full Ghanaian airline that can operate without any problem.
In response to the license grant, Chief Executive Officer of the Magdan Group, Daniel Macaulay, conveyed his profound gratitude to the GCAA for its support and guidance throughout the certification process. He revealed that his company currently operates 3 jets from the terminal and pledged to introduce an additional 2 cargo planes in support of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area AFCFTA under the ongoing Guided Trade Initiative. Mr. Macaulay emphasized that the granted certification will significantly contribute to Ghana's economic development. Carlos Galoni, Joy News.
Let's talk now about the Volta Regional Secretariat of the Urban Roads, which has commenced the implementation of a one-way scheme in the capital, Ho. The scheme, which was a component of the Sokodeho Dual Carriage Road project, has seen 3 major roads converted into one-way traffic roads. Fred Kwame Asari reports from there.
Following the completion of the structural works of the Sokodeho Dual Carriage Road project, there have been changes in the flow of traffic in the Volta regional capital, Ho. The Accra-Sokodeho stretch remains a 2-way road, while Gwal to Civic Center Junction on Independence Avenue have been converted into a 1-way road. Similarly, Gwal to High Court Junction and High Court Junction to Vodafone Junction have become a 1-way road. The High Court Junction to Residency remains a 2-way road. This also applies to the High Court Junction to Stadium Junction and Independence Avenue, KK House to Ola Traffic Light. Edward Anna is the Volta Regional Director of Urban Roads.
You are from Accra, you do mandatory 10 right, you hit on the 3rd Avenue to the High Court Traffic Light. Then you turn left on the VRCC road to the Vodafone Junction. At the Vodafone Junction, the Independence Avenue is a 2-way road. So you can either go to the KK House direction or to the left, the Civic Center direction. Then if you are from Market to go to maybe Accra, then you take the Togbe Afede road. The Togbe Afede road, it will be 2-directional, 1-way. You now cannot come down. So if you get to Gwal and you want to go to BRCC, then that is where you do the left turn, where we have the exclusive left turn. But those going to Sokodeho, to Accra and the rest, you just hit on the dual carriageway and then off you go.
He explained that the traffic management was undertaken to ease congestion at major intersections in the central business district.
Yes, the need is for pedestrian safety and then traffic safety, and then to ease congestion. You see, if we take all the traffic down to Civic Center, you go there, then the place will be choked. But as it is now, somebody do the mandatory turn to the old traffic light, can decide not to even go to VRCC road. You go straight to Stadium. You understand me? And then the same traffic, if it gets down to the Vodafone Junction, will be dissipated in the sense that some people will take right to go to KK House and the rest.
However, the road is yet to be fully completed as the government is looking for funds to fix traffic light at 2 junctions, beautify the median and properly connect some intersections.
Traffic light, we've earmarked 2 places for traffic light, PWD Junction and then the Y Junction. I hope you know the Y Junction. Y Junction, getting to Togbe Afede's area, where Sokodeho Lokui, these are the 2 areas. And then we are thinking of street lighting. We are seeking additional funds to do those things, which is in the pipeline. You understand me?
Road users are advised to duly adhere to the traffic signs to ensure sanity on the roads. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News. Ho.
Let's do some politics now. And a pro-New Patriotic Party group, Hohoi, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia Volunteers, has been launched to enhance the electoral fortunes of the governing party. We'll bring you some more details on that story as and when it is ready. Now, the group says it will deploy some strategies to propagate the goodwill of the MPP and its presidential candidate, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, to the electorate in the Hohoi constituency in the Volta region. Here's another report put together by Fred Kwame Asari.
The general purpose of this group, Hohoi DMB Volunteers, is to support His Excellency Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia to become the next president of Ghana. To achieve this purpose, here are the cardinal objectives with their accompanying strategic blueprint. Conduct research for informed decision-making. To gather, analyze, and disseminate relevant data, information that will enable us to make informed decisions and connect well with electorates effectively to drive home DMB's presidential bid. Establish a research team to conduct comprehensive studies on key issues affecting Ghana, Hohoi to be specific. such as the economy, healthcare, education, and infrastructure. This research will serve as the foundation for Dr. Bawumia's campaign and marketing. Increase voter awareness. Organize educational campaigns across institutions in the constituency. Organize town hall meetings and door-to-door outreach to inform the communities about Dr. Bawumia's well-researched policies and plans, backed by credible data and evidence. Recruit and train volunteers, including those with strong understanding of research findings, to actively engage with their communities. These volunteers will be equipped to effectively communicate Dr. Bawumia's vision and research-backed policies, thereby fostering a sense of trust and credibility among voters. We are resolute and committed to our agenda. To the good people of our constituency, we are using this opportunity to humbly invite everyone to join us in this historic journey of success. Together, it is possible.
Now, the overlord of Dagbang, Yana Abukari II, has donated food items to support flood victims in Mepe and Buipe. He says this is his kingdom's small way of supporting the victims who have lost everything. Martina Bugri reports.
Over 39,000 people have been displaced following the Akosombo Dam spillage, whilst over 12,600 residents of the North Tongue constituency have been affected. It is estimated that about 1,500 houses have totally been destroyed, whilst 53 schools have been affected. The donation, according to the overlord, is his widow's mite to support the victims. In a speech read on behalf of the Yana Abukari II by the chief of Zangbalong, Na Dr. Yakubu II, called on the relevant ministries to tackle the situation holistically.
We also call on the relevant ministries to tackle this situation holistically, as this extends along the Volta River up to the north, especially the Savannah region. The flooding of Bupe in the Savannah region seems to be an annual event that seems to be solved once and for all. The continued yearly loss of properties by the residents is unacceptable, and we need to act now and avert a repetition of it come next year. I know the government is doing its best, and so are several organizations and individuals to contain the situation. I pray that we don't get tired of helping until everyone is out of danger and life returns back to normal or near normal. My special commendation goes to you, Honorable Ablakwa, for your untiring support to your communities. Your reward is from the good Lord.
The Member of Parliament for North Tongue, Samuel Okujaso Ablakwa, who received the items on behalf of the people, said they were touched by the kind gesture of the overlord. He assured the chief that the donation will be given to the affected people.
We are absolutely appreciative of this kind humanitarian gesture. We also want to use this opportunity to assure His Royal Majesty that the items that he has put together, these relief items, will go directly to the beneficiaries. We give him fullest assurances. There will be no diversion, there will be no hoarding, there will be full transparency and accountability.
Togbe Azagla IV, who was part of the delegation, said they would continue to advocate for support and would also put in strategies to ensure that when support is withdrawn, they will be able to handle the situation.
It's going to be a fight. It is not going to be very easy for us because when we go to some circles, they don't give us the hope. We don't get the hope that very soon we shall recover. So what we are doing is to keep on advocating, appealing to people that we think can help us. That is what we can do for the moment. Maybe in some few months to come, We'll be adapting strategies. When we adapt this and we're not getting a result, we have to get another strategy until we win. If it's not over, it's not over.
Member of Parliament for Northton said they were going to organize crash programs and mock to help the students catch up with what they have lost.
We are also initiating our own alternative housing arrangements so that we can relocate some of the people in the camps and the students can return to school. And then we'll have a crash program, organize special mocks and all of that, bring in special teachers, teachers who have the expertise at organizing crash programs and helping the students to catch up. We intend to do that. Then you are also concerned about compensation, resettlement. I've been talking about that. I have actually even filed a question, an urgent question to the Works and Housing Minister.
He said it was crucial for government to take advantage of data available and replace people's certificates and other valuables that were lost.
Now, the headmistress of the Christ the King International School, Portia Felice Mensah, is encouraging students to harness the expanding advancements in technology for their academic pursuits. She underscores the shift towards a more technological approach in education, emphasizing the potential benefits for students who integrate modern tools into their learning. There's more in this report.
And when used wisely, it can open doors to endless opportunities. With the technological advancement, especially in the educational space, students should take advantage to improve the academic pursuit. Addressing the students' body at the commissioning of the new school block at Christ the King International School, which is furnished with a smart board, the headmistress Portia Felice Mensah emphasized that this can contribute to the academic performance.
In all the classrooms, we have smart boards. And you know, education is going technological. So we are hoping that the children are going to make very good use of this edifice and it's going to help them in their academic performance. So they have everything in there that will help them. AI, everything.
Meanwhile, the auxiliary bishop of the Catholic Archdiocese of Accra, Anthony Na Asari, is calling on the government to support private schools by providing teachers with technological tools to enhance teaching.
As of government support, we want support by way of maybe supplying us teachers. Sometimes when we have to put up facilities like this, you go through all kinds of bureaucracies by way of land acquisition, sometimes ownership rights and all that. It's my prayer that, well, we will see that education is key to our development and we must begin from the basic, must begin from students, from learners. And when we do that, we realize we'll transform our country, our nation, because we are educated people.
The commissioning of the new school block at Christ the King International School, equipped with state-of-the-art technology, signals a commitment to providing a cutting-edge learning environment. Comfort Ashley's report, read to you.
And that's our week up of the news, but stay with us. The news review up next with Samuel Umbura. Here we go, time now for the news review, and it was intentional to do that before the news review. Play that song by Mensah. It always gets me thinking whenever we play it. Them get eyes, but them know they see. Them get heart, but them know they feel. Them get mind, but them know they think. Don't worry, my blunt thoughts haven't started yet. They'll start later. But it always gets me thinking about African misleadership. You know, you should listen to that song by Mensah. It's been a long while since, Mensah dropped anything. You would usually find him doing some collabo with One Love the Kubolo. But these songs are the deeper songs I feel artists should be doing rather than all the, yeah, you can do the bumpy beat bang thing. But apart from that, what's the sense in your song? And those are one of the songs that I feel in recent times really have a message. Our leadership, or should I say our misleadership, oftentimes those three things can be said of them. They have eyes, but they do not see the poverty, the grinding poverty people go through. They have hearts, they don't feel for the masses. And in some cases, you would think they don't even think through the issues. Welcome on the News Review Belt. It's always brought to you by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. They're offering you free prostate screening if you're a man, free fertility screening if you're a woman. Look, your health is your wealth. No long things. Reach out to them at any of their branches. Here in Accra, at Spentex opposite the Shell signboard. Kumasi, you can locate them at Kronum Abwe here behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrade Anadiji Estate, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswe and Siamanzima. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Let me welcome aboard my own brother in everything good, who ate the TZ without me. He thinks I've forgotten. Auntie what?
Auntie?
You're the one who gave you the TZ.
Oh, okay, Auntie Janet.
Auntie Janet.
Yeah, she's.
You even remember her name?
Oh, why not? That's my.
You never shared that TZ with me.
That's my auntie.
I'm still upset.
She's
with
watching me all the way in Borga this morning. So.
Oh.
I said good morning to you, Auntie.
Auntie Janet, a very good morning to you. We're grateful for the TZ that only one party got and I didn't get. I like TZ a lot, especially with a confirm. So.
And that was definitely what I took.
TZ.
Yeah.
Hey, young man.
Oh yeah.
Are you? I'm
serious. Next time I have to take you along. You know, Monday I was in Tamale as well, but unfortunately because my auntie is not in Tamale, I couldn't get TZ with a confirm.
You were when you were with the vice president.
Exactly.
But you promised me a smoke.
Yeah.
Now you are promising me TZ with a confirm.
Oh no,
You've not delivered on the first promise.
No, they will come. They will come. Anyway. This is not a political promise. It's a brotherly promise.
This has become political. How many years now? But since you brought that up, I wanted us to talk briefly about the UG master student who has unfortunately lost his life on the back of the robbery. But that day, you spoke to the vice president. It was also almost as though, I mean, yes, you painted the picture and everything. Was he tired or something?
Yeah, exactly.
I realized the interactivity was a bit, I don't know.
Yeah, so he actually had a very, packed night because when he landed in Tamale, he had to move to Nalergo, which is about 3 hours drive from the airport. And then when he came back, he had to also come straight to the rally grounds, Jubilee Park, Tamale, to address the people. You know, sometimes how these political campaigns and rounds are always made. And once he's home, definitely you don't have the time to sleep. People will meet you throughout the night till the next morning. And that very day, even at his residence, people were there in their numbers just to say hello and hi to him, because it's been a long time they have seen him. Others were also there to also put forward their problems. You know? There's so many demands and all that. So I understand from that perspective that,
at the start of the interaction, it was almost as though he were waving you away. I felt that was a bit unnatural, a bit, I don't know, but and I would have left it there. But people also reached out and said, but
what happened?
It's looked rather odd. But anyway, you can always give the benefit of the doubt to them in such situations. It's grueling when they have to hit the campaign.
You know, actually, he actually called for, when I sought permission to have the live interaction on the bars, he was actually the one who said, oh, you can let them come around, but I was told that he wasn't feeling well. That's what I was told. You know, I even spoke with the chairman, Mr. Stephen Tim, but he too said he wasn't quite well, so he didn't want to speak, maybe at the grounds to address the people, but for now, because they were on a journey, and because the road was also bumpy too, they rather wanted to reserve their comments and then address the rally when they get to the locations.
But there's also that issue of the University of Ghana students.
I saw that.
Who unfortunately
Fred Smith sharing it on our platform.
Lost his life.
I was really shocked about that particular incident and
attacked by robbers. And I don't know, I think there was some sort of scuffle, tussle between them. I always say, listen, your life is more precious than anything.
Exactly.
Your laptops, your phones, your money, nothing comes close to your life. Even if it's your thesis that you've written, hopefully you have it saved somewhere. And in this instance, it's so sad. Very young man pursuing something, hoping to become something, and his life.
Personal security and having self-awareness about your security.
Exactly, self-awareness.
Important. Mostly, these are gadgets that you can purchase, no matter what is inside. Look, You don't know what's, even if the person is not, you've not seen the person armed, holding any machete or any weapon.
Don't make assumptions.
Don't challenge. You don't know how prepared the person is, because you are just reacting to, an attack. You don't know how the person is prepared. So if the person appears before you and you know that this person is a criminal, the person wants something from you, just surrender and then give whatever the person wants. After all, there's still life ahead. You can buy that. But if you want to struggle, then you may have to bear the cost. And that's what has happened to this young man. But the university has issued a statement, and it's actually coming from the University of Ghana Business School. If there's time, I can just read excerpts from that. It said, unfortunate passing of our student, Mr. Dennis Chumesi Ankra. The management of UGBS has taken note of the sad and regrettable incident of the passing of our student, Mr. Dennis Chumesi Ankra. Dennis was a student in our Master's Procurement and Supply Chain weekend program. We extend our deepest condolence to his family and loved ones. We caution the public to desist from peddling unsubstantiated claims about the cause of his death. The police are still investigating the cause of his death, and we will update the general public upon receipt of the police report. So we are waiting for that report, but this statement is signed by one Emmanuel Poku Sarkodie, is a school administrator at the University of Ghana Business School there. So we hope that the police, they are able to track these criminals.
Per our sources, even in the university community, certain things have been said. But yes, we'll wait for the police to issue a statement. What we do know is that we've lost a life. One life too many. There used to be a lot of rampant, and that is my alma mater, so I'm not targeting the University of Ghana for anything. There used to be a time, especially around the hostels, where people would be attacked. A few people were even, at a point, sexually assaulted. And it's not just UG campus. KNUST has had its fair share. The different campuses have had their fair share. Sometimes it dips to the point where you forget that those things actually are they are still extant. And then this happens. Looking at the cost of education alone, these master's programs, I just got one out of one. I'm yet to graduate, but trust me, the cost alone.
It's a headache.
I feel so sad. I'm really
but
sad.
It shall be well.
And our condolences to his family and all that. Let's get into the papers. I have the Daily Graphic this morning. I have the Finder newspaper. What do you have?
I have the Daily Guide, Ghanaian Times, the Daily Statesman, and the Ghanaian Publisher.
All right, so let's start from your end.
All right, so Daily Guide, the big story. My running mate is a man, according to John Mahama. And then this story...
Okay, so does that lend credence to those who had been saying the fact that they were jettisoning Professor J. Nana?
So that is the analysis being done by the Daily Guide, because they are taking it from his own quotation during his tour of the Bono region. And this is what he said in his quote. He was speaking with NDC supporters in the Bono East region. He hinted that the individual who would be chosen as his running mate is a man. He further indicated that this man served in his government as a minister and discharged his duties diligently. The quote is, "Everyone knows him. He's humble and very resourceful. He served my government," Mahama hinted. Fifi Kwete also granted an interview to Kojo Yankson, an exclusive that we played yesterday. And then he said that they are looking for an energetic young person. So you realize that the communication directs that the possibility of dropping Nana is high. The last time I told you about this, that the information coming in indicates that they are looking for a fresh running mate to partner John Mahama. And I'm not surprised about the turnaround in the event. So that whole idea that Professor Nana has been jettisoned could be true.
There is some credibility to that.
Yeah, it could be true. So we are waiting for that news to drop. But he says he'll be naming his running mate soon. We don't know when, but he'll be doing that shortly. Your electricity tariffs have gone higher, have gone down by 1.52%. That's what has been reported on the front page of the Daily Guide.
And water has gone up.
I've seen a significant increase, but I think we will do some analysis on that.
But electricity prices have cumulatively gone up by about almost 100% before coming down by less than 2%.
Exactly. Parliament opposes law on intestines import. Yamade. Do you like Yamade? Yeah, you like it?
I do.
I understand that.
But when we have the TZ, it usually goes with Yemwadia. We can question it. Am I lying?
Yeah, so
TZ goes with Yemwadia.
So Parliament is actually kicking against it. The NDC minority in Parliament has kicked against this particular instrument to restrict the importation of 22 selected strategic products, including guts, bladders, and stomachs of animals into the country. The other products are noodles and pasta, animal and vegetable oils, rice, poultry, margarine, fruit juices, soft drinks, mineral water, ceramics, corrugated paper and paperboard, paperboard, and mosquito coil and insecticide. On the issue about food, the meat, we can produce. Why do we have to import these stomachs, intestines?
I guess you also have to ask yourself why we import so much in terms of cattle, beef, and all of that from Burkina Faso, from Niger. It's all part of it, because if you are producing here, if you have the numbers, obviously with each animal you kill, all of these are in there.
Under the Nkrumah government, there was this meat factory in Zwarango, the Borga East district. Yeah. It's rotting away. I know, yeah, it's a fact that the machines may be obsolete and you have to upgrade them. It will take much money to pump into that. But you see, the main idea was that the northern parts of the country, specifically Upper East region, is closer to Burkina Faso. So what we need to do is that we just block the purchase of these cattle there, buy them, process them, bring it down to the southern part of the country, and then make it somehow cheaper. So we don't have to import these
that was the whole
directly
idea.
From Burkina Faso.
It was taking advantage of your marketing, or is it economics, has, you know, when your, there's something advantage, I've just forgotten. But that is it. Yeah. So up north, you have a lot more cattle. Yeah. Let's take advantage of that. Down south, maybe in certain areas, it is gold. It is, you know, the soil, you can plant there, cocoa. Let's take advantage of that. That was the multifaceted approach. We've departed from it, and so we're suffering.
Yeah, so that is a big challenge.
And there's also been talk about juice
and all that. But the Ekumfi juice and co are there. I wonder why we still have to import.
No, but Ekumfi juice does not have the capacity.
So what are we doing?
to take care of.
There's a watermelon factory in Northeast region that was brought by this government. I know some strides have been made. And I hope that we invest more in that.
Is that not the factory that the last time we checked was not?
Yeah, the reports, I understand there was even a press conference regarding that the NDC is raising concerns that it has not been operational and all.
Right. So because I remember there was a
that has been my challenge, that we wanted to construct some or establish factories within our localities to produce and then package what we have. Within our locations, but that is not happening. What is the level of commitment? Is it the case that we just come to promise governments upon governments, manifestos upon manifestos, and then nothing, the actuality is not happening? What are we taking ourselves for? What is the regulations, the components of the fruit juice that we import? Are these just natural or they are mixed with other chemicals? Because these are some of the things that we have to interrogate. We have the baobab. If you go up north there, they have the baobab fruits that the people...
There are so many things you can do.
So many things that you can do. So
practically every Sunday, there's this baobab juice.
Yeah.
They add the baobab tree, the fruit components, some vanilla, and a few other things. All organic. And I patronize it. And those things are healthy. Yeah. They are very healthy.
Very, very healthy for you
and I. It's like you remind me of dawa dawa as well.
Very, very good for your blood level and then everything. I mean, I think they have some drinks like that. They use the dawa and all that. So I think if we use a local fruit,
have you tried dawa jollof before?
Oh yeah, I do. I actually have a sister who sells some at Adenta.
Dawa jollof with I confirm is bay.
And that's actually what she sells. Maybe one of these weekends I have to take.
Then we have to pay. My what's her name? So we start, approaching. All right, so let's get into other stories.
All right, so NDC sold Parliament, Clark's house. That's coming from Samuel Abujinapo, Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. Details are in page 3 of this paper. Otunfo Sheikh's Brekum, you know there's a funeral there, and he and his entourage are currently there to honor that funeral. So these are some of the big stories making headlines on the front page of the Daily Guide. And back page, Maguire accepts MP Adongo apology. That's my MP for Borga Central there. So that story is also on the back page of the Daily Guide.
Yeah, that is interesting. The way, that story has gone round. And even, pointers to Joy News. We're big like that.
Yeah.
We're big like that. But let's check out the Ghanaian Times newspaper.
So over 3,000 voluntarily returned home since 2017. That's coming from the immigration services. So the story says that more than 3,500 Ghanaians who left the country in search of greener pastures have been assisted to voluntarily return home since 2017. Data from the International Organization for Immigration, Ghana, has shown that. So of the figure, over 3,200 are males, with the rest comprising women and children, while the majority of the adults fall between the age range of 18 and 30 years. So we leave Ghana to say we are going outside the country to seek greener pastures, but that's the situation they found themselves. They have to come back. That means that we have a nation to build. You and I, we have a contribution. Look, if Benjamin gets up and says, oh, I'm tired of Ghana, I'm going to Liberia, I'm going to UK, I'm going to Canada, I also get up and say, I'm leaving the country. Who will build the country for you? Yeah. So we all have to come back, despite the challenges, face them head on, and then fight for the future
of
our children.
The other reality, it always reminds me of that nurse who here was earning 500-600, was not even securing a job, and that was even when he secured a job. He's in the UK, and he's earning the equivalent of about 50,000 cedis. Yes, some may say rent, but he gave us the breakdown. Yeah. He actually told us, this is what I spend on rent, this is what I spend on food, this goes into tax. Yeah. I am still far, far, far better off. You get it? So we have to balance the equation. We'll not get to where the UKs and the US and the Frances have got to overnight. But there must be some semblance of something. I always say, according to that plan, the NDPC has the blueprint.
Yeah.
We mean by 2057, when we're 100 years old, to have an economy that is worth $3 trillion. With what you see now, do we look like an economy that in some 34 years or so will be able to get to 3 trillion? So the writing must be on the wall. Exactly. When you see Rwanda, it's because the writing was on the wall that people felt committed. Rwandans from different, or Rwandese, depending on what, from different parts of the world started coming back home. But if you don't see that, then you ask yourself, I keep saying, my friends, accountants, doctors, pharmacists, all of these people go out there and they keep asking, look, Ben, with your skill set, why are you still in Ghana?
I took this advice from Professor Kofi Asare. He said, the best advice is to leave an example.
Right.
The best advice is to leave an example. So if you say you're a leader, you are committed to ensuring that the country is better, let us see that example from you, and the followers will also go in that direction. But if you tell us A and you are doing B, definitely, you and I may not take it serious. So let us set the examples for the followers to follow. And the followers, we have to also hold them accountable, regardless of our, political leanings and all that. We have to actually ensure that everything that we need for the country, all that we are advocating, should be on the nationalistic point of view, but not on individual interests and all that. Would you want to move to other papers, or can just run through this newspaper, headlines? The Daily Statesman
just quickly with those headlines.
Talks about the Gunja overlord foreseeing Bawumia as president. That's the home region of John Mahama, the Gunja Yagbonra. He actually gave him a title, a chieftaincy title of unity when he visited that area. Government commissioned First 50 Agenda 111 Hospital, May 2024. GES launches sexual harassment policy for schools. We have to define, this issue about sexual harassment, how you are dealing with these school children and all that. And I think that's in the right direction for us to ensure a safe
I spoke about it yesterday. I feel there's a lot going on and we are not tackling the problem head on.
Yeah. So be fair, firm, fearless, Bawumia charges police. There was the 52nd cadet passing out ceremony. That was 2 days ago that the vice president attended. We have the picture of the IGP, Dr. George Akufu Dampare, and then the vice president on the front page of the Daily Statesman. Bawumia key to Ghanaian success, Abuja Napoli declares government seeking external support for spillage communities. Chief Institute to the end peace in the North and NDP officer and chieftaincy minister steps up to taking up on policy.
All right, so let's get to the paper. 2024, religion, ethnicity, ethnicity posed only as National Peace Council. I wanted to say for National Commission for Civic Regulation and religion and ethnicity threaten that nation democracy. So measures including political parties directly or working with opinion leaders and rulers to reach political actors in communities and localities, as well as to sensitize the citizenry to their rights and responsibilities. I always have said I am very inclined to religion, but I'm also very tolerant across the board.
You must be liberal.
It's always the way. It's the way I've always, I have been brought up. Ghana has a fine mix, but in recent times, especially, there's been a lot of here and there tussling and ethnicity.
Yeah.
Ethnicity is a major problem.
Exactly.
We can't read beyond our political noses because of ethnicity in some instances.
Yeah.
And I totally agree with my friend Kathleen Addy that if we don't get these right, someday they could actually come back to bite us. I'll come back to you to react on that. Leveraging technology for development. KNUST must lead the way in Africa. Joe Anochi urges at Bafo Memorial Lectures. And then Constituency Watch, Ashaiman, huge area, bustling town, home of migrants. But again, even as we talk about all the good in Ashaiman, how about the crime rates and all of that? Yeah. Those are things we are also not getting right. Not good ahead of elections. I'll wrap with this story on page 23. Welcome to Takla. And it's a postcard from the Volta region. Now, there are many things that are said about the area, but one thing that stands out, no crime. Now, Takla is well kept with well-defined roads, trees at the various public squares, and the people, a legacy from the ancestors. Yeah. But the greater beauty in Takla is the absence of crime. No crime.
And you know why?
The gods, let me just bring you this. The gods of the land eschew all forms of crime. Yeah. And for that matter, anyone who comes to Takla with a motive to steal or indulge in other forms of crime will not find his way out of Takla. Yeah. The paramount chief of Takla said. Asked what happens to the criminals when they are caught, Togbe Ayim Ajokoto said, no comment. I guess the spirit.
When I saw that story, I was so fulfilled that if people are conditioned to think this way, that if you go to this town and still you'll not be able to go out or get out, or this is what the gods abhors, then it is in the right direction for society's growth. So imagine we extend it to governance. What will then happen? That if you come to government and you steal, this is what happens to you. Now, again, Professor Opoku Asare, in that interview that I produced, indicated that why is it that whenever we are swearing in a president or a politician, the person uses our colonial oaths and all those things. Why don't we use our own traditional ones and see what happens?
So that you swear by the gods and
you swear by the gods.
Of course.
Yeah, so these are just moral guiding principles, and I think the people of Takla should be commended, and then tradition should be kept.
All right. Let me just acknowledge this. Raymond Abiu Abotre. Bibiba Abotre. I can see that our sound is not well, but you started with what the da-da-da is going on with your sound. We hope the sound has been restored. If not, please bear with us. The team will be working on the sound so you can watch us live on Facebook. Our apologies for that. Then there's the Finder newspaper. Ghana to get 5G wireless data communication soon. That's according to Joe Anochi. And LI seeking to ban importation of 22 products suspended. We've taken a look at that. Petrosol wins Brand of the Year at Ghana Energy Awards 2023. And the Lands and Natural Resources Minister says gold for oil procured 800,000 metric tons of petrol, diesel in 1 year. Now we're grappling with adulterated fuel in many instances. I also forgot, so this was the Finder newspaper. Yeah. The Daily Graphic also has Joseph Boakai, the Liberian president, urging the president-elect,
are you shocked?
Urging unity.
Are you shocked that we have lost this election?
It's not incredibly surprising. I mean, it was always a writing on the wall. He won pretty comfortably the last time, some 5 years ago, on the back of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf stepping aside for her vice to try and take him on. But I believe Ellen Johnson Sirleaf's party had already become a bit unpopular. There were things that had not been done. George Weah came with youthfulness. Yeah. He offered something.
Did he exhibit that in governance?
I think in some ways, yes, but in other ways, he acted just like those before him, and he's been punished. And I think, here's the thing, I feel we could have done more in Liberia, and I just feel that when you're given the opportunity, I don't know the mindset of our politicians. I'm not a politician.
I'm really disappointed.
But I think if you get power, assume that you have only one term.
Maybe
and that is it.
Ben,
and do whatever you can.
Is there something that we those sitting and watching from outside don't know? That maybe if you assume such a position, maybe they're thinking, or there's a different spirit that comes into you, so you do things haphazardly.
Well, there are theories. Yeah. There are theories about that, politically speaking. But the point too is, yes, I do understand. Look at President Obama, the Obamiter and things. There are things that you may think, oh, it is like this. When you get in, you realize that, okay, it's a different ballgame. Yeah. Those are there. But by and large, our African politicians, especially here, are not honest. They can't even come out when they fail and acknowledge, oh, my people. I feel that is one thing I can't understand about our politicians.
That's a challenge.
You know, I said I would do this. Yeah. Actually, I can't do it. I've realized that things are a lot more different. Please bear with me. I can only do about 30 to 40% of what I project.
Just be honest.
But let's work together to attain the 40% and hopefully but no, they'll tell you everything is perfect. I did the 100%. And to add insult to injury like that makes no sense.
Yeah, they defend the inefficiency, they defend the corruption, they defend what should not be defended. And I think that we should be sincere and fair to ourselves, no matter who you are, whether an MP, a DC, an elected assembly member. Please, when you assume that position, don't see, excuse me to say, your followers as zombies. Because someone says that whenever a politician assumes office, he sees you and I, the citizens, as zombies. So they do what they want and all. And that's what has just played out in the case of George Weah. And I'm sorry for him, but I never expected that he would have lost this election. But because of complacency and over ambitiousness, that's what has happened.
Do you understand the tree proverb that says, "Okwasi enitia na groegu"? Do you understand it? Okwasi
yeah.
na groegu.
Before you realize.
When the fool gains wisdom or becomes smart or wise, then the game is over. It is game, set, and match. And you see, I just think there's a lack of honesty.
Yeah.
That is it, pure and simple, a lack of honesty. And that's why today, and this message just came in. Derek Awume says, what is more sickening is those who are to seek accountability are those who rather defend the rot of these politicians. Yeah. Me, I have said, look, people can go back. People have, and indeed, we have a short memory. When John Mahama was president, I remember the Kanazue, do you remember? The Burkinabe businessman and the Ford Explorer, or was it Ford, whatever? The Guantanamo 3 or so. Yeah. Look, go on the economy. Go and look back to what some of us did and said. But yet today when you talk, people think, oh, why should you talk? And it is because that whole mentality of ethnicity, religion, as Kathleen Addy has mentioned, and that thinking that if I have spoken in your interest in the past, because I felt actually things were going wrong, now I can't speak against you. You are wrong. Me. I will speak. I will speak today. In fact, I spoke yesterday. I'll speak today. I'll speak tomorrow.
And mostly people misconstrue that. They think that you have personal issues with the person.
And if the other side also comes, the other day Dr. Rashid Pelpo was here. I was telling him in the face, if you guys also come and some of these very things you are criticizing, you do
definitely
you get a double dose of the bashing.
Unfortunately, they misconstrue it to be personal attacks on the personality of the person. They are not seeing that your criticisms is on the person's leadership style. You have to always yank the personality of the person and then the governance of the person. That way, you'll be able to understand it better. Me sitting here or Benjamin sitting here criticizes Akufo-Addo doesn't mean that I hate Akufo-Addo. It means that I want things to be right. I am not comfortable, perhaps, with his style of governance. If I criticize John Mahama as an opposition leader with his policies, it doesn't mean that I don't want him to come into office, but maybe I want him to be better. So if we understand things from this perspective, I don't think that some of these things...
And sometimes the ordinary people act as though we were not part of... You see, if the things go wrong, it doesn't just affect you there. It affects me too.
Exactly.
I also go to the market. I also go to wherever to buy the same things you are buying. I feel the pinch just as much as you do.
Yeah.
So we have to go now, but I'll just share with you, Ghana 4. Today, I want you to don't, if for anything, don't miss my blunt thoughts.
What is that?
I'm going to give you a break, a blow-by-blow analysis of this whole 24-hour thing. We've heard the former president, we've heard the vice president. Today, I'll situate the conversation and make you understand properly what this whole 24-hour system is and what it can be for us in Ghana, which is why I've titled today's Blunt Thoughts, Grinding Poverty in the Face of a 24-Hour Economy. Reading the room. A lot of the time, our politicians don't read.
But can I ask this question? 24-hour economy is not purely a business decision. That's a businessman I can decide to run 24 hours.
That's why you should watch me.
Okay.
Because I'll give the example of Sydney, London, Kenya, Singapore, among other countries. And then you see what the real dynamics are.
Exactly. Let's see how that will go. But I'd like to say a very good morning to my brothers in Bongo, the United Brothers Association. They are watching me live.
You, this guy. This segment always brought to you by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. They're offering you free prostate screening, free female fertility screening. Reach out to them here in Accra. Spentex opposite the Shell signboard. Kumasi Chronomabwe here behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrady Anaji State Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa, and the Siamantima. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Bringing us to the end of the news review. Up next, sports with Mubarak Haruna. Do stay. Ghana for Indilo, Mamamwache, Yayade. I hope everyone is fine. I know the circumstances are not the best, but we grind, we day, we run things no run we. I just had to start on that note because sometimes in the midst of everything, you start to get despondent, lose, courage and all of that. But hope is something we can never lose. It is that anchor that we must stand by. And that is why today I'm going to drop thinking bombs on you out there. Mind, I didn't say literal bombs. Thinking bombs, because I'm going to get you think, reflect on where we are as a country. And when our leaders come through with this or that, properly assess, read between the lines. I've titled my blunt thoughts this morning, Grinding Poverty in the Face of a 24-Hour Economy. Reading the room. You must understand. Grinding poverty in the face of a 24-hour economy. Reading the room. I'd like you to come with me to the slides for starters, and then I'll break down for you this whole idea of a 24-hour economy. But what in recent times have some of our leaders been saying? The former president and now the vice president who is flag bearer of the NPP. John Dramani Mahama said, we will introduce a 24-hour economy with incentives and tax breaks for manufacturers who will run extra shifts to create more room for employment. So what? Incentives, tax breaks for manufacturers. Let's go to the next slide. Now in the next slide, can we go to the next slide, please? Now, in the next slide, this is what the key pointers are. It will include the operation of a 3-shift system by industries and commercial entities on a daily basis. Businesses will be encouraged to sign up with tax incentives. You sign up, you get tax incentives. It will heighten security, which will be provided for safer cities and thereby, in effect, boost tourism. This is all on paper. Lower electricity tariffs will be given after peak hours. You're talking after certain hours of the evening or whatever, so that people can go through the cycle and pay less. Special meters will be employed or deployed at 6 a.m. I think that should actually be 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. And then 24-hour economy initiative will be voluntary. No one is compelled to come on board. Some interesting thoughts in there. But let's find out what the other side has been saying. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the vice president, flag bearer of the MPP, has said a 24-hour economy cannot be legislated by the government. I guess it goes back to the point of not compelling anyone to come on board. What's the need for legislation if the incentives are there? There are many businesses already working for 24 hours, he says. Then the track record of John Mahama doesn't show innovative thinking, he says. And then again, it is an idea that has not been well thought through. All right, let's go to the next slide. And this is where, after this, I'll pause a bit and tell you, I'll give you a piece of my mind on this matter. The former president says 3-shift system by industries and commercial entities will be on a daily basis. But our finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, says they are going to focus. And interestingly, all of a sudden, we are seeing night economy in the 2024 budget, focused on improving sports and tourism at night. Mr. Finance Minister, night tourism and sports, how innovative is that? Especially when your flag bearer says others are not innovative enough in their thinking. And let me ask you, even daytime tourism and sports cry, you know the seat up, na night. Is it there that you fare any better? If we ever cry, na diasa. Penifone kayampa, sagrobe soa, if we are not. Look at our Black Stars. Look at our local football league. If building AstroTurfs were the panacea to our sporting problems, we would have been in a much better place by now. So give us a much needed break, Mr. Finance Minister. Aye. Have you seen the state of roads to most of the major tourist sites in our country? Going there by day is hazardous, not night. And no question. Ghana, for wake up, rouse yourselves before it's too late. Listen, the 2021 population and housing census conducted by the Ghana Statistical Service indicated that more than 1.55 million people, or put differently, 13.4% of Ghana's economically active population was out of work as compared to the 5.3% rate of joblessness recorded by the 2010 census. The World Bank in 2016 projected that Ghana would have to create at least 300,000 new jobs annually to absorb the increasing number of unemployed people given the country's growing youth population. You see, this actually will be a very fine time for the 2.3 million jobs the Vice President has been touting to make themselves manifest. I'll tell you what. Some of you parents don't even know what your daughters at school are up to. They school all right, but at night and even at some points during the day, they are hooking up, engaging in sophisticated prostitution, purportedly to be able to foot the bills they know you cannot afford to pay, or admittedly, in some cases, live luxurious lives many of us can ill afford. For many graduates in there, though, and I'm talking of graduates who are even mothers, and I'm putting this on the back of research, and so on, they are doing this because they have simply found no jobs many years after graduating from school, and that's resort to selling their bodies to get by. What a crying shame. I mean, speaking of a 24-hour economy, someone may say, well, will all that night business not just cause the prostitution business to boom even further? Possibly. But wait, not so fast. If we need more police officers, nurses, filling station attendants, drivers, maybe even nighttime traffic wardens, if things really get busy, say during festive seasons like Easter, the Eid, and Christmas, more shop attendants, accountants, restaurateurs, cleaners, waiters, security guards, and what have you, a chunk of the number, if we plan properly, could be women. I ask you, how many of our sisters, if given the choice of earning an honest and dignified income, would expose themselves to the high risks of the sex business, especially considering the statistics show that due to the high health risks associated with their work, about 5 out of every 100 of them that you pick likely are infected with the dreaded HIV. How many would do that? Are we honestly suggesting they would risk it all like they're doing now if they had better alternatives to feed themselves and their families? Do you honestly think these girls and women would be hooking up with men if they could hook some good money by doing something dignifying? Do you? Listen, there will always be those who want to live on the fast lane, those who want to live the fast life. That's okay. Those are not the people I'm talking about. Many of them, however rational as they are, would not have gone down the very slippery road of prostitution if poverty had not paid them an unwelcome visit because they had no source of income. That's where my concern is. 2 days ago, a report called the Old Mutual Financial Services Monitor revealed that a whopping 64% of the Ghanaian working population was in financial distress. This distress was even worse among the lower income bracket, with as high as 72% of workers in that category negatively impacted. For those in the informal sector, the financial distress had impacted some 68% of the population. Just think of that for a moment. To make matters even worse, the study also revealed that 4 out of every 10 of those in such financial distress also found themselves in what the study calls the sandwich generation. That is, those who are in the middle of the financial curve, having to support parents on the one end and their own children on the other. When ordinary Ghanaians were asked about Ghana's economy, the report revealed that less than 1 out of every 5 consumers expressed a lack of confidence in Ghana's economy. That is a confidence rate of less than 20%, which actually is a clear vote of no confidence. Interestingly, in terms of financial needs, income security was named through the findings of the report as the topmost priority of Ghanaians. Yet look at where we are. Now, if this is not a wake-up call, then I don't know what is. But coming back to this, recently, The TUC boss, Dr. Yauban, an economist himself, described the 24-hour strategy as a game changer. And why not? In fact, while the Vice President Bawumia and this administration has vilified the 24-hour economy, they have been pilfering from it to try to water it down. You would note from reading pages 92 and 93 of the 2024 budget statement that terms like a night and sport economy, night economy and tourism, developing the Black Star Square into a city light center, all in a bid to drive the night economy in Accra and a welcoming night environment, and the use of astroturfs to create, quote, vibrant night economies in their communities are all conveniently snuck in. Whom are we trying to deceive? Some of us can read between the lines. The question is, can our misleaders read the room correctly for once? Our politicians never learn, you see. Free SHS is good, though fraught with avoidable problems. But here's a bit of a throwback. Before election 2016, the NDC made fun of it, tried to water it down. Look at what happened to them. The same thing is happening today with John Mahama's proposal of a 24-hour economy, which, by the way, Hassan Ayariga, a former flag bearer of the CPP and the APC, had hinted at in his APC manifesto in 2020. To be fair, though, the NDC also had it in its 2020 manifesto. It simply wasn't brought up the way it has been now. Again, even before these, the idea had been mooted in Ghana's proposed 40-year development plan, which never saw the light of day. This whole thing about a night economy. My point is this. If this 24-hour cycle can be properly planned, promoted, executed, and if it will save many lives and businesses, literally, why not? A typical example is this. I'm dispensing free advice to former President Mahama and to Vice President Bawumia. Look at our book publishing or book printing space. I write books, so I know what I'm talking about. If we had businesses going well and an environment that fosters true production, we would have a printing sector that would continuously work 24/7. Believe me, go to Accra Newtown, go to Accra Central and other places and look at what goes on there. Instead of putting in place the right measures to boost that sector, even government itself will print stuff from China. True, we have tried to get some local content for the printing of textbooks, but even that has not been an easy ride. If we had, like Dr. Bawumia told us before election 2016, truly moved from taxation to production, imagine where our printing presses and publishing houses would have been. With the right environment, it definitely can be done. But who will do it? That is the question for the gods. Or maybe our political misleaders just like to say things out of political expediency. Maybe. But there's a whole lot more to contemplate. Because when you go to the next slide, this is what other jurisdictions have done and continue to do. There's a treasure trove of lessons and a vast store of knowledge to tap into, especially considering how weak our economy is and its susceptibility to the very least of shocks. The case of London's night economy. Contribution in gross value added £17.7 billion to £26.3 billion in 2014. That was the addition because of London's night economy. The projected growth rate value was £1.63 billion yearly by 2026. Jobs created directly and indirectly, 1.26 million jobs. I'm talking London, not the entirety of the UK. Projected growth rate, 66,000 additional jobs every year. Let's go to the next slide. In the case of Sydney in Australia, Sydney's nighttime economy valued in 2017, $27.2 billion. Yeah, you heard me right. Dollars. Jobs created, 234,000 jobs. Let's check out country by country, what is happening? United States, cities like New York and Las Vegas are renowned for their vibrant day and nightlife and continuous activities facilitated by a 3-shift system spanning 8 hours each. In Japan, metropolises like Tokyo boast a vibrant economy with services such as convenience stores and public transportation accessible 24/7, generating additional employment opportunities. South Korea, cities like Seoul feature a dynamic 3-shift system accompanied by round-the-clock availability of services like transportation, convenience stores, and a dynamic nightlife. Next slide. Singapore. The city-state of Singapore operates a well-established 24-hour economy, ensuring that public transportation, dining, and shopping services remain accessible at all times. In the UK, London, particularly in central areas, sustains a thriving nightlife with select services operating continuously 24/7, contributing to increased job opportunities. And finally, Dubai. We like going to Dubai, right? in the United Arab Emirates. It is internationally recognized for its 24-hour economy, characterized by activities and services available around the clock. So tell me, we don't just poo-poo ideas because they come from the other side. What do you think, watching me this morning? Is this a viable idea or not? If we get the execution right, is it not something that can get more jobs so that that hookup girl, your sister, my sister, your mother, my mother. I read a pathetic story about a lady who came from up north. She's hooking up in Accra just to make a decent living for herself and her children. She knows the risks. That's the only job she's able to get. My job as a journalist is to do the research, like I've done, and expose the truth to you so you can be guided and know what to do. The ball now is in your court. Let's put on our thinking caps as a forward-looking people and do our best for Mother Ghana. As the Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah would say, we face neither east nor west, we face forward. Let us embrace the forward march to make Ghana a place to be proud of. My name is Benjamin Akapo. These are my blunt thoughts shared with you, hot, raw, unedited, and undiluted. As always, I pray God richly bless our motherland Ghana and make her truly great and strong.
Some students of the Half Asnes Senior High School on parade at Newtown in the Western region where the event was held. The Ghana Boundary Commission has been engaged in reaffirmation exercise to replace destroyed boundary pillars with Togo. The joint reaffirmation exercise to replace all destroyed boundary pillars with Ghana's western neighbors Côte d'Ivoire will begin this week. Speaking at the joint sensitization program, National Coordinator of the Ghana Boundary Commission, Major General Emmanuel Kotia, said a joint inspection of the international maritime boundary with Côte d'Ivoire would take place in March. He says a lighthouse will be constructed in the area to align with the land boundary terminus, which serves as a guide for the maritime boundary between the two countries.
An important point, you know, the ITLUS gave a ruling, and between Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire, we have decided to come out with a work plan on how we are going to implement the ITLUS ruling. One of the things that we will be doing will be future joint maritime boundary inspections. Today, we have had only the Ghana team doing an inspection, and that is ship, Ghana Navy ship with Ghana boundary personnel on the ship there. They started this exercise yesterday. We are appealing to Côte d'Ivoire that next year, March, the Côte d'Ivoire Navy should come and we will have a joint inspection on our maritime boundary. Going further, we would also be conducting, as I mentioned, another inspection in March. The first inspection was organized in April this year. Future joint inspections with Côte d'Ivoire would help the collaboration and cooperation that we have been seeking over the years. And let me use this opportunity once again to thank the government and people of Côte d'Ivoire for their cooperation so far as the implementation of the ITLUS is concerned.
Major General Emmanuel Kocha says the team engaged in the boundary reaffirmation exercise will be introducing new types of pillars which are different from what were used in the colonial era.
What are the reasons for reaffirmation? One of the main reasons why we are doing this reaffirmation is that along the Ghana-Côte d'Ivoire land boundary, we might have a lot of pillars that have been removed or tempered. Some of these pillars also, especially those across along the sea, may have been covered by sand dunes or sand in that regard. The distances between the pillars when they were being constructed during the colonial period were very long. For that matter, we need to address those that challenge that we have identified. There are also these issues have also led to the unidentifiable boundary land because of the distances. So the local population along the Ghana-Côte d'Ivoire boundary, they are not able to identify where the boundary line is. So as for this matter, we are doing the reaffirmation, and then we are carrying out the construction of the pillars so that they will be able to identify. In this regard, we will be introducing some new types of pillars. First of all, the main pillars will not be like the colonial type of pillars. There will be new type of pillars that the technical teams will decide and agree. We will also be introducing intermediary pillars. Apart from intermediary pillars, we will be introducing border crossing pillars. Where there is a border post, there will be a pillar there that will guide the Ghana Immigration Service of where the boundary location is.
Western Regional Minister Kwabena Otrida comments and says the replacement of the boundary pillars or reaffirmation exercise contributes to regional peace and stability.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in the next few weeks, we are tasked with the crucial responsibility of reaffirming our land and maritime boundaries along the western frontier. From boundary terminus pillar 55. In fact, pillar 55 in Newtown is a very popular boundary point, a very popular pillar. So if you are in Newtown, you should know that one of your historic assets.
Well, so that's a bit of a teaser, if you like. The Ghana Boundary Commission will start reaffirmation exercises this week to replace destroyed boundary pillars between Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire. It's the first joint sensitization and reaffirmation exercise between the two neighbors. And of course, that was what Maxwell Agbagba, my colleague, was sharing with us a short while ago. Joining us now is the National Coordinator of the Ghana Boundary Commission, Major General Emmanuel Kotia. A very good morning to you, sir. Thank you for joining us on the AM show.
Good morning. Good morning to your viewers. And once again, happy to speak to you.
Yes, it's always a pleasure to speak to my fiery former lecturer. He kept us on our toes, no doubt about that. Anyone who knows him would know that. But starting off with, quite a lot has been done since you took over as the national coordinator. This first mentorship program, that workshop, that the Ghana Boundary Commission organized this week for some sectors of the Southern Belt. Walk us through why exactly it was necessary to go on this trajectory.
Good morning once again. Now, the African Union and implementing partners of GIZ under the African Union Boundary Border Program have realized that there are a number of countries that have established boundary commissions, whilst most of the countries in the southern part of Africa have not established, and also some countries in the eastern part and northern part of Africa. So a program has been adopted that those who have well-established boundary commissions should access these countries. So the African Union Boundary Program, in conjunction with GIZ, put on a program for the first time. They asked us to host an experience sharing workshop, which we organized in Accra from Monday the 20th to Wednesday the 22nd. And they brought all the Southern African countries, and in addition, they added Ethiopia, which did not have a boundary commission. Now, clearly, the overall objective of the workshop was to contribute to the strengthening of the capacities of boundary commissions for decision-making and for border and boundary governance, and to also assist them to establish infrastructures to be able to organize their boundary commissions in their respective countries.
And these are interesting dynamics. I know the likes of South Africa itself, Kenya, among others, are tapping into this. And we find ourselves in some good position to be able to lend them knowledge. I'm just hoping that it will not turn out like it usually does, where we are the forebears and before you realize, we end up behind. But you would also look at some of the disputes across the different sub-regions on the continent and note that, yes, border issues are crucial, pivotal in our dynamics. Which brings me to the point of what's the key findings or outcomes of this entire workshop or dialogue were, as far as, these countries coming together to learn from us?
Yeah, interesting findings came out. But before then, let me mention that there were various subjects that were discussed. And one of the subjects that came up was mechanisms of setting up the frameworks for national boundary commissions. And if you look at the mechanisms include having legal framework. Most of the countries don't have a dedicated law like we have, an act of parliament that establishes it. The Nigerians have an act of parliament that establishes it. So that is the beginning of it. So most of them agree that they need to carry that first, and they need their political actors to understand the dynamism and where to start from. The other issue is that, you see, the issue of boundaries, especially international boundaries on the maritime and land front, has it's more of international. So there is a need for the collaboration with the various ministry of the states, collaborate with the various ministries of foreign affairs. We have been doing very well. So we had a slot for a director from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to lead a discussion on the relationship between foreign affairs and boundary commissions. And the outcome in that respect was also very interesting. And they got to know that there is a relation. The start point is for them to even have that relationship with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, apart from the legal frameworks and various aspects that they need to set up. The other aspect, we had them educated on geometrics and survey on land and maritime boundaries. And let me mention especially on geometrics. It's very interesting that so many people do not understand the laws and mechanisms that is associated with maritime boundaries. So there was the need for them to be brought up in that dynamic, because they are there, but they don't understand those dynamics. And it was very insightful. So they have agreed that there are a number of conferences that each country, state parties are supposed to attend at the UN level, at various international forums. And we came out with those ideas, and I told them that the experiences Ghana we have really had so far as attending these conferences were concerned. Another interesting dimension was gender mainstreaming along boundary commissions. Now, we realize that most of the people that you'll be dealing with along the borders, especially the deprived communities, you have a lot of women and children who are really in that category. There was a need for them to be updated in that sequence and for them to come out with strategies so far as cross-border cooperation is concerned. Then the African Union Convention on Cross-Border Cooperation was also another thing that featured. So we had a representative for African Union who came and gave highlights of it and the need for all the countries to associate themselves. But one of the key highlights was that there was a need for African Union and ECOWAS to bring this topical issue for a head of states meeting, discussion at the head of states level, so that the importance of boundary commissions will be highlighted. The second thing is that there was a need for regional workshops, just like what we have had, to update various countries and to encourage other countries to establish the boundary commission, because that is the best way or the easiest way for us preventing conflict along our boundaries and creating stability within our various countries.
Interesting dynamics you have shared, but there was also this reaffirmation exercise to ensure that our boundaries are in place where they ought to be. I remember the last time we had a conversation, there was also talk about sometimes the boundaries being inadvertently removed. What is the status of that?
Yeah, so we've been doing reaffirmation with Togo over the time. Now, for Togo, we have even got to the third phase. We'll be able to do a reaffirmation for about 200 kilometers along the Ghana-Togo boundary. Now, this is the very first time that the Ivorians have come on board. And in the first phase that we are going to conduct the reaffirmation, we're going to do about 50 kilometers up and then extend to 150 kilometers. But the issue about Ghana-Cote d'Ivoire is very significant, and especially from the start point, Newtown, because there was an ITLOS ruling on the maritime boundary between Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire.
Right.
So the pillar that established that ruling is pillar 55 that is located at Newtown in the Western region. So what we decided was that we would start the reaffirmation from that land, because we realized that most of the pillars are not visible there. Some have been removed. So we agreed with the Ivorians and we had this sensitization yesterday. So the sensitization we completed the sensitization yesterday. And then, even though it's an ongoing process, but the technical teams are going to be on the ground to do a reaffirmation. We are hoping that in January next year, we're going to start constructing new pillars. Now, at Newtown, we are going to construct a monument and then we would also have some other structures that would redirect this. Our appeal is that we need to work vigorously on that. We need a lot of funding to be able to do. Currently, the German government, using its implementing agencies, the GIZ, is sponsoring all these activities at the eastern side and the western side. Now, this is a novelty between we and Cote d'Ivoire, and we are hoping that we'll be able to carry them along and we will cooperate for us to be able to carry out this exercise. Remember that Ghana shares a 713-kilometer length of land boundary with Cote d'Ivoire, less, including rivers and streams on that front.
Now, we also know that your team, the National Boundary Commission, has been collaborating with the Ghana Navy, checking out those very borders you've been speaking of, our maritime borders, and trying to find out whether there have been any encroachments as far as the Ivorian side is concerned. What did you discover?
Yeah, so the first time we went on sea to do this inspection was in April this year, in collaboration with the Navy, using maritime drones. And then they went along the maritime boundary just to find out whether there were any interference. There were no interference. Just that we have some few challenges with the oil exploration companies, which we'll be handling at our level with the Ministry of Energy. The second one was organized, started on the 22nd. So yesterday, they were on view during the sensitization for both the Ivorians and the local population to see what was being conducted. So the ship came along the coastline for them to say. So that was the second time we're doing that inspection. Since the ruling in 2017, no inspection has been conducted. We are going to, our aim is that, and from the plan of action that we have, is to conduct this inspection twice a year on the Western Front. Now, what we have said is that the Ivorians, we're encouraging the Ivorians to join us on a joint inspection. And that builds a lot of confidence along the maritime boundary since both countries have agreed. And the Ivorians they are very positive of joining us in the program in March next year. So we'll continue to collaborate with them so that we will step up this inspection as a joint inspection, the Ivorian Navy and the Boundary Commission and the Ghana Navy and the Ghana Boundary Commission. This was done at the initiative of the Ghana Boundary Commission, and we think that that is a positive way we should approach this.
So if I were to ask you to conclude the conversation, what is the state? How protected are Ghana's boundaries on the land front, on the maritime front? These are crucial to us. And going forward, even before March next year, when you hope to have these interactions with the Ivorian side, what can we expect from the Boundary Commission? What would you say, sir?
I've always mentioned that, and I believe that I mentioned this in your class before, that one of the characteristics of the state is to have a defined territory. Now, one of the key functions of the Ghana Boundary Commissions, as spelled out by a law, is to define, demarcate, delimitate, and reaffirm our international boundaries, whether at the maritime level or by sea. So the key thing is that the Ghana Boundary Commission is a very relevant body that one can, an indispensable body that one cannot dispute with. So without the Ghana Boundary Commission, it means that we cannot be able to define our states. So one key thing we are doing is that we will continue on our inspections. We'll continue to use the boundaries of Ghana, to identify the boundaries of Ghana, sustain our boundaries so that the state, the territorial sovereignty of the state will be clearly defined at any time. And we will also encourage the security forces to get themselves involved. We will educate them on land and maritime boundaries so that when they are on the sea, like the Navy, or they are on the land, nobody will stray. The local population is key, and that is why the sensitization is taking place. Most of them really do not know where the boundaries are. So if you go along the Ghana-Togo boundary, you see people straying, farming in Ghana or Togo, people building houses. It is no fault of theirs, because the lines are not clearly defined. With the introduction of intermediate boundaries, with the introduction of border pillars, border crossing pillars, and other mechanisms that we are going to have, digitalization of our boundary pillars and our boundary lines, I believe that the Ghana Boundary Commission stands tall to be able to support government's efforts, not only Ghana, but of our neighboring countries, to have the stability that we require along our maritime boundaries. In addition to supporting the deprived population along the boundaries. We have started some exercise where currently we are rehabilitating a health clinic at one of the boundary commissions, and we are also going to build a school building for Newtown, the new town where we went yesterday. Additionally, we have initiated, and government has given us funding for us to construct a road opening up to Dollar Power, where the 48th Engineer Regiment are doing, and Sapelga. So we're using the advantage to also create border inspection routes, so closer to the borders, so that when we could then drive and identify whether the boundary place have been moved, tempered, or there are any problems with them. So we can rest assured that the Ghana Boundary Commission, going forward from next year, we're going to engage Burkina Faso, and we're going to start a similar exercise in the north.
Well, I think we'll still have the conversation here, but thank you so much, Major General Emmanuel Kotia, for joining the conversation and, in fact, educating us on what you've been doing and what we can expect moving forward. I've always been curious, though, our airspace, does that also fall under your jurisdiction, or is that left to the Air Force?
Yes, so the air boundary is coming to a new, it's going to be stated in the new act, but it is part of the work of the Boundary Commission. When there are air boundary disputes, it is the Boundary Commission that will intervene to resolve it between a neighboring country. And that is a more complicated aspect. So in the new act that is currently with Parliament, it is going to be inserted, including internal settling disputes within our internal domain, electoral or district boundaries. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for engaging us. Major General Kotia, Emmanuel Kotia, is the National Coordinator, National Boundary Commission. Welcome back on the AM show. I remember those commercials from back then, the ABC and all of that. I don't know how many of you remember, abstinence, be faithful, condom use and all of that. At a point, it just fizzled out. And now, guess what stark reality we are faced with? AIDS, HIV, and AIDS are on the rise again. And guess what? Even more staggering, a number of people are not aware of their status, and they are out there, and unwittingly, they may be spreading the virus. And that is why this morning we have a conversation with the AIDS Commission to know what is going on, to get a fair idea of the self-testing, which is a very great development. And joining us in the studio, Ernest Otson, President, Ghana HIV/AIDS Network, and Samuel Dankwa, Country Manager, Abbott Infectious Diseases. Both of them join me in the studio for a conversation. Ernest, Samuel, a very good morning to you.
Very good morning.
I hope I didn't murder the Otson.
You got it excellently right.
Okay, we thank God. We thank God for that. But I would just like to start off from the standpoint of how far we've come.
Yeah.
Some of the new measures that have been put in place.
Yeah.
The Ghana AIDS Commission has been coming through from time to time, sharing with us. I'll just start from what's new before we even get into. I know we are itching to talk about the self-testing.
Yes.
What have we been up to so far?
Well, as a country, we have been on this campaign actively for the last 22, 23 years. And we've made some modest gains. But unfortunately, we took our eyes off the ball, and we are getting new cases coming up every now and then. So this has really gotten us very much alarmed, because we have a very young population that has virtually no knowledge of HIV and AIDS issues. Just like we mentioned, in the past, there used to be campaigns everywhere. And so we all got to know about the ABCD, but now those...
So we're making cartoons
exactly,
and all of that,
exactly.
and it just stopped.
Yes, it just stopped some way, somehow. But now the Commission is really offering that leadership that we need and rallying civil society organizations to come together to support the national effort to bring down this disease. Because there's a global commitment that by 2030, by 2030, HIV should no longer be of a public health concern. Just like how we have been able to deal with COVID, we should be able to deal with HIV by 2030. So that is why we are all now rallying our energies towards eliminating, minimizing new infections of HIV.
I know one major problem you have.
Sure.
Funding.
Exactly.
How is that going? I know the last time Doc came here, we were talking about, we actually had an appeal here on TV.
Sure.
Corporates Ghana, individuals who have the capital, people of goodwill. How is it going?
Well,
and I always let you do this when you come here so that people will know that it's still an emergency. We must still tackle this. And if they can support, how they can do that.
Yes, I mean, thank you so much for that support because we really need it. All these years, the Global Fund has been the major sponsor of our national response. Since 2002, in fact, we were the first country to receive a Global Fund grant. And that was way back in 2002. From that time to now, government has been supporting, but majorly it's been the Global Fund. They've invested more than $1 billion in our national response. We, as civil society organizations, have also been advocating that government needs to put in a lot more resources domestically because the Global Fund will not be there forever. At some point, it's a fund. At some point, they may fold up. Yeah. And at that point...
How will we sustain ourselves?
Exactly. Because as we speak, we have 252,000 Ghanaians who are HIV positive and currently on treatment. Yeah. And the medications are paid for by the Global Fund. These are very...
You are talking of the ARTs.
The ARTs, yes. Very expensive. And the Global Fund has to pay for these medications. Now, if the Global Fund, for any reason, decides to, fold up, what happens to our brothers and sisters?
And this is reality.
And this is a reality.
When COVID came,
yes,
some things were cut off because they're also thinking of themselves.
Exactly.
Ukraine, Russia happened. They are thinking of themselves.
Even the
so something else will happen.
Even the vaccines.
God forbid.
Even
with the vaccines.
You saw what they call, the advanced countries were actually hoarding the vaccines for their people.
Of course, they will think of their people first.
Exactly. So that is why we need government to actually commit to supporting. So the Commission has launched a code, star 9898 hash.
Star 9898 hash.
Yes. Okay. And from any network, you can make a contribution to support the national response. And this is very important because the prevalence is around 1.7. Meaning out of every 100 Ghanaians you meet, at least 2 are HIV positive.
Wow.
Yes. And if we don't deal with the situation, for me, what is disheartening is the young children who are being born with a virus.
Yeah. Which could be avoided. It's avoidable.
Very, very much so. Very much so. If we are able to put all pregnant women on treatment and they stay on treatment, we'll be able to avoid that.
Let me briefly, I'll come right back to you. I know, Samuel, you are not going to get into the real conversations. The Ghana AIDS Commission is handling this. But from where you sit, because your outfit conducts these tests and all of that, I mean, what do you see in terms of HIV AIDS, in terms of people coming, testing? Do people come often? And when they do, I mean, can you give us just a few statistics from your area of expertise?
Okay, thank you so much. So with Abbott, we, in support with the Ghana government, we want to help, and from where we sit, to be able to eradicate this issue as we are undergoing. The focus from our perspective is that we want to support them from the testing perspective, where people can test from their homes without any stigma or any issues. So that is where we are as Abbott. Yeah.
So that is the whole point. No one gets to know that you are even testing and all of that. It is between you and basically God. And you get in touch with the AIDS Commission. And I know you have a policy in place to ensure that you protect these people.
Oh, yes.
So that people, because word of mouth, next thing you know, I've heard of cases where you go to a certain medical facility and then someone sees you. Hey, before you get home or into your community, people are pointing fingers.
You know, stigma is a very big issue. And from what we've seen over the years, the stigmatization and discrimination associated with the virus actually kills people, even more than the virus itself. So we need people to accept the fact that even though we still tell people that we all need to prevent this, HIV infection, it is not as dangerous as it was some 20, 30 years ago when we had no clue as to how to deal with it. Today, there are medications that if you take, you'll be fine. In fact, there is even advancement. And in the very near future, we're going to introduce medications where you take or injections where you take just once every, you take twice every year.
Wow.
So it's not going to be a dolly days anymore. You take your injection just twice a year and you are fine. So each time I get opportunity to be in the media, one thing I always say is that we've observed many people started treatment, but they have stopped.
Yeah.
Many people. Just a few days back, I was told of someone that I know personally. She was on treatment, some way, somehow stopped because she said she had been healed and, all manner of things. And just last week, she lost her life. So we know it's not easy. It's not easy living.
Sometimes, it's also about the cost of travel and all of that.
Yes.
Because some people come from far away places. I know the dynamics,
Exactly.
which is why this injection thing you are talking about could be
yes.
a game changer.
Yes, in the very near future. There are trials in other countries, and we are hoping that very soon we're going to have it in Ghana so that it will ease because of stigma. That is why people don't go for treatment in facilities close to them. So people will choose to go to maybe northern region, eastern region, central, western, even though they're residents in Accra. Yeah. So I always say that when we look at the national statistics, we shouldn't even stigmatize regions to say that this region has the highest or whatever.
Prevalence.
Because for UK, there are people moving from their regions to other regions because of this issue of stigma. They want to avoid being seen in facilities close by their area. So we need to actually stop the stigma and accept the fact that if you look at the modes of transmission.
No, but Ernest, it's an illness just like any other illness.
Yes.
It's just that this one, if not handled in a certain way, can take your life. Exactly. It's an illness, even malaria.
Exactly.
If you have too much of a viral load, can kill you.
Exactly.
So I don't know why sometimes we get, and it's human beings who have them. And I always cite the issue of Magic Johnson, basketball.
Yes.
Look at how long, and if you saw him and no one told you that, he had HIV.
So one of the key things to also do when you go into the media is to explain the difference between HIV and AIDS. Yeah. When someone has HIV, they don't show any symptoms at all. Yeah. No symptoms whatsoever. They are normal, they are perfect. They can go on for as long as 10 years before the signs will show because their immunity will be so down. But if you are detected early and put on treatment, your immunity will be very strong and you'll be healthy and you'll go about your normal duties. Like I said, 252,000 people are currently on treatment and they are doing fine. And so nobody should stay at home and lose their lives.
Don't let your life go. You can live a very normal life. And that's why we're also grateful to Samuel Dankwa and Abbott Infectious Diseases for this, initiative. But let's come to the self-testing. That's the crucial aspect of the conversation. Sure. It started in July.
Sure.
What exactly is this oral test? How is it done? What is this about?
Okay.
Tell us about it.
Good. So in July this year, the Minister of Health, Honorable Kwekwa Ajimamenu, actually launched the self-testing project here in Ghana. But prior to that, there had been pilots, interventions in some communities. But then when the thing was launched, we just upscaled it and we went nationwide. So there are two forms of the self-testing. We have the oral-based method, and then we have the blood, based method. With the oral, you only swab, in your mouth. And
like with COVID.
Exactly.
Do the swab.
Exactly. Just do the swab and then can do the test. With the blood, that one you need to just, prick yourself a little and then you take some blood samples and you go through. We actually brought a video, if we can be shown, so that we'll demonstrate how the blood-borne tests actually happens. But so far, it's been very, very good. Initially, we were scared that Ghanaians will not accept it.
Patronize it.
Yeah, but you'll be amazed. As I sit here, I'm overwhelmed with requests.
Okay,
Our
what
school
are
is
people
doing
going
this.
for more? Is it the oral one or the blood-based?
Okay, so the blood-based, as at the time we were launching the self-testing in July, our guidelines hadn't given approval to the blood-based.
Okay.
So it was the oral that was launched because those ones had gone through the process.
Right.
Yeah. But since then, we've had the guidelines giving approval for the blood based. So that's what we are now trying to also promote. We're not trying to promote the blood one. So far, the ones that are in the system are the oral one.
Okay.
And
so if the video is ready, I think this would be a good time to actually watch how it's done. All right, so we'll get that video in just a bit. We'll definitely play it before this segment ends. Okay, so now we're ready with the video, and we'll just watch and see how it's done. It's that simple. It is, in fact, that simple. But to explain even further, I have watched it and I understand, but I'll let Samuel Dankwa explain to us. So what did we just see?
Yes.
The process.
Okay, thank you so much. So simply put, this is called Check Now, as the name implies. It comes in a pack that contains a lancet, which is the needle, as we normally call it, and it has a buffer. The buffer is to just expedite the blood sample from flowing, and then you have the basin, and then the well, and then the kit itself, all included. So you just prick yourself, or first of all, you wash your hands carefully. Possibly we recommend warm water, just to allow free flow of blood in your hands, I mean. Now you prick your your ring finger,
okay,
or the middle finger,
okay,
where we assume that there's a lot of blood condensation, and you drop 2 blood into the basin.
So 2 drops of
blood. 2 drops of blood. Now, after you use the pipette to pick a portion,
so the pipette is that thing you use to draw the blood.
Exactly,
Okay.
yeah. With the pipette, you just drop the blood into the well, where the test will be conducted. Now, clearly seen, so in the video, you could see, so this is the buffer. And then you drop a portion of the buffer as well into the blood sample. Exactly, which then moves the blood for the reading to be indicated. It takes 15 minutes, maximum 15 minutes. And then after you look for the indication, so you have a C letter indicated on the test kit, and as well as a T, which means the test. Now the C must always show. If the C doesn't show, it means your test is not valid. So the C shows and then the T shows, it means that you are reactive. We don't say positive, we say you are reactive.
You are reactive.
Yes. Now when the C shows and then there's no T, it means you are non-reactive.
Okay, so let's get this clear. Apart from the C and the T, what I saw, if you are reactive, 2 bars. If you are not reactive, 1 bar.
1 bar,
right?
correct.
Because some people will not be looking at all the C and T, they will just be looking at the bars.
The bars, correct. Okay. So now when the T shows and the C doesn't show, it means your test is invalid. So I'll let Ernest explain further on that.
Okay. So thank you very much, Samuel. So basically, if you see 2 lines, one on the C and one on the T, it means you are reactive.
You are reactive.
We don't say positive.
Right.
We say you are.
The terminology is
reactive.
evolving. Right.
Yeah, and the reason is that, you know, for Ghana, for us to be able to say that you are HIV positive, our algorithm says that you have to go through a 3 set of tests.
Okay.
So
I was about to ask that because sometimes, you know, with the malaria testing,
exactly,
you can be sick, but you test and maybe the viral load is not a lot. So it's showing you are negative, but actually you haven't.
Yeah, exactly.
I was going to get to
that. So you have to go through a 3-test algorithm just so that we can be sure that when we say you are positive, you are indeed positive. Okay. So when you test and we see the 2 bars, we say you are reactive. Even if the second bar is faint, once there's a bar on the C and the T is reactive. Okay. So at that point, we recommend that you go to a health facility for a confirmatory test.
Okay.
So when you get to the health facility, then a confirmatory test will be done. Then we can be certain that whether you are positive. Or
okay. But initially, we say they are reactive.
Reactive.
All right.
Yes.
Atachi Selassie says, get tested. Christmas is coming. He has a bit of a point. Usually around this time, people do all kinds of things. Ensure that you're protecting yourself, and why not? Get tested.
Yeah.
Get tested. I mean, get tested. Just to cap off the conversation. So 2 things. Where can we get this? The test kit and all of that. Is it widely available? Do people have to come to the commission and all that? And I know you have this health walk coming up.
Yes.
What is the significance of that? Very quickly.
Very quickly. So very quickly, I'm going to give you your T-shirts. You can see we are already.
Thank you very much.
Already wearing.
We've been talking, promoting, testing, and all of that. Finally, I get.
Yeah. So finally, you get your T-shirt.
Thank you.
You need to wait and.
Let me see how it will.
Yes.
The producer on your world cry. It looks lovely on me, right?
Very, very lovely.
All right. Thank you so much for this.
Yes. So on Saturday.
Right.
That's tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
At Ayimensam, we are converging at various groups, hundreds of us, at least about 500, 600, 700 of us. Okay. So it's going to be a mammoth, kind of.
Wow.
Yes. And that's because we want to actually create more awareness about self-testing.
Okay.
Because we see it as a game changer. There are over 100,000 Ghanaians who have the virus but not aware.
Yeah.
And for us to be able to achieve the global objective of 95 target, we need to get more people to test. So we are encouraging people to test. So tomorrow we are giving out free test kits.
Okay.
If you come around tomorrow, you get a free test kit. Now, starting from January, I know Abbott is making preparations to make sure that we can have these kits in various pharmacies, so you can just go and get one yourself. But for now, if you want one, they can contact you, and we can make some, some available to you, or they can contact Garnet, and we can make some available to them. It's for free. It's for free.
You see, the humans are stretch. It's my stretch.
We'll talk
about that later.
Let's meet there.
Any final words, Samuel? Since you've not any final words,
I'll say we thank your platform for giving us this opportunity, and as Abbott, we are always ready to support in eradicating this HIV from Ghana. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming and for doing this for God and country.
Yes.
Ernest Otson is President, Ghana HIV/AIDS Network, and Samuel Dankwa is Country Manager, Abbott Infectious Diseases. Now, coming up next, we're going to be talking about, well, the Roadmaster, a police motor transport and traffic directorate officer seeking to halt the rise in motor accidents. More on that right after the break. Welcome back. Another festive season is here. A lot of people will be driving to different parts of the country here and there. But safety, how safe will our roads be? Sometimes it's about knowing what to do at what time. And that's why we're having this conversation this morning, because there's someone who has taken it upon himself to actually come up with some measures, some thought-sharing developments to ensure that we are all safe, not just this season, but throughout. Imagine if the carnage on our roads were much less. We're joined by Richard Temenka. He is the Roadmaster. I'll be asking him about that name. And then Ernestina Adjo-Dika, Director, Communication and Community Engagement with the Roadmaster. Thank you for joining the conversation, Richard and Ernestina.
It's a pleasure to be here.
I was grateful having us here.
A short while ago, we had Ernest, and now we have Ernestina.
Oh,
so back-to-back members on there. So let's start with the Roadmaster. How did it come about? How did you get that name for yourself and for this project you're working on?
Okay, so Roadmaster came by. One day I was there, then I felt someone should be in charge of the road. Yes, so if someone is in charge of the road, the person must be a master. And the person must understand the game of the road. I'm a police officer.
Right.
And I work with the MTTD and I understand the nature of the road. I understand the culture of drivers, pedestrians, and all road users. So the team came up. We are young professionals. We have doctors, we have nurses. Tina is a journalist. So we decided to put a Roadmaster together to champion this cause. And that is how come we got this name, Roadmaster.
Something way back, because I like rice, something some of my friends used to tease me back then. Do you remember Rice Master?
Yes, the Rice
bags
Master.
of rice.
Yes.
So this actually reminded me of that, because people would tease me with that I loved rice too much. But brilliant initiative, because like we have seen over the years, the carnage on our roads has just been, it's been out there. I think this year we've recorded a bit of a slower in terms of casualties, fatalities, accidents and I think in recent times too, we are doing a bit better when it comes to the motorbikes. I wouldn't say Okada alone, because there are the Aboboyas, there are the motorbikes, private and public. But coming to you, Ernestina, you're also a professional. And like you said, there are many of you who are professionals on board. What got you on board this project?
First of all, let me say he is my friend, and I wanted to share my expertise with him. So when he shared the idea with me, I felt it was brilliant, and I was in a position to assist him in whatever he wanted to do. So I used to work with the Ghana News Agency, and we invited him over to one of our stakeholder engagements where he talked about the road, the accidents, the rates and all that. And I wrote a story on it. And I felt the story was to send a message to people out there. So if I, as a journalist, I'm also able to put this news out there for people to read and also to influence their behavior, their attitude change towards how they drive recklessly on the road and all that, I felt I was also making an impact in the community through his initiative. So that was why I joined.
That got you on board.
Yes.
How many people are we looking at who are part of this project, the Roadmaster project? And what would you say so far have been the gains of bringing all these people together to prevent the carnage on our roads?
Okay, so with the nurses, the doctors, and journalists on board, the teachers. So the Roadmaster goes around various schools, especially within the Tema enclave. We educate kids how to cross the road. You could see that Ghanaian kids don't know how to cross the road.
A lot of the time when we're on hand,
people
it's either you are driving and you stop and you have to signal the the people behind you to stop as well.
Good.
Else someone will hit them.
Good.
Or if you are walking, you actually hold their hands and help them.
That is it. So people cross the road at their own convenience, and some of them, you see them using their mobile phones whilst crossing. Jaywalking and all those things amounts to some level of offenses. Yeah. So we started educating them through the communities, the schools, and it's yielding some results. And you see, there are police interventions. The National Police Headquarters brought some intervention, Operation Parry, and all those PALs, they are all working. But we need to accept this project as our project. If we accept this project as our project, I collate data at our end. And what we identified was crashes that happen as a result of vehicles running through the red light dropped so low.
Wow.
You don't experience those crashes. So that means the Parry project worked. Where are the crashes coming from, especially with the motorbike?
Before you go on, what is the Parry project?
The Parry is the police action against riders in discipline. Okay, that is the Parry project. So these riders, they are not being crashed at the intersection again, the traffic intersection, because when the traffic light is red, they stop. We all see it, it's visible. We all see it. But they get crashed whilst riding within the township and in the highways. What accounts for this? Most of these riders ride in the middle. Some ride at the edge of the road. Now, the riders are to ride as other vehicles do. And now, when those riders are ahead of those vehicles, we, the drivers, we keep blowing horns at them to leave the road. So, in course of doing all those things, and if we respect these riders, and the riders ride ahead of us in their lane as other vehicles do, I think some of these carnages will be reduced.
That's a very important point to make.
Yes.
Especially with what I've noticed, the Aboboya, for example, the tricycles.
Yes.
They often overload, and then they are so heavy, and they are going at a snail pace. Yes. And you see that they have blocked a number of people, and then they're honking. That's where you usually see that.
Yes.
And this point must be reinforced as well. A lot of the time, like you said, they should be riding in the same lanes.
Yes.
They ride in the middle, and sometimes even worse, they know you're going to turn, and they ride to your right side.
Good.
One happened to me before. If it weren't, I was going into church. If it weren't for being very aware, I would have. And he knew it was his fault. Because where he passed, you see, and I actually looked through my rear view mirror. You see the person on your left. Within a second, the person he was trying to overtake, and he had gone to my right and was. So all those dynamics are in there. And hopefully you are, by this, you are teaching all of us to be aware of that.
Yes, they are part of the road. The motorbikes are part of the road. They pay the road tolls as we all do, insurance, they do all those things. So what we need to do again is, the Ghanaian driver is always tailgating. The Ghanaian driver is always tailgating.
Please explain the tailgating so that everyone will understand what we are.
It's when you are following the vehicle, what in the local parlance they call bumper to bumper. There's no need. You see, a driver can be driving ahead of you, all of a sudden suffer stroke. He can suffer stroke, or he can go off, or the vehicle can even go off, or there's an obstruction ahead of him, and he is obliged to stop, or he stops. The next
what's the figure again? Is it 5 meters?
No, at least 20 meters on the highway. At least 20, 30 meters, yes. Because you need to stop when there need be. When there's an obstruction and someone stops abruptly, you need to manage and stop. That is what we call the overall stopping distance. You need to keep it. At least a 30-meter distance is not
And you remind me of the Tema motorway.
Hey! You see, the motorway, it's bad. But what accounts for all this? Yes, so that one is another
it's a discussion on its own.
On its own. Right. But we need, in all this, we need to keep this road safe. Especially, we are coming from the Tema enclave. So, Roadmaster is having this program on the Saturday, 25th, bringing all these drivers together from various companies. They are all coming. And as you are coming there, you're coming to have some kinky party as well.
Kinky fest.
Yes, kinky fest.
So come and learn and eat at the same time.
Come and learn and eat at the same time. The DVLA will be there. Some of these drivers and riders, for whatever reason, they fail to visit the DVLA to renew their licenses and all those type of services. Yeah. So we are bringing the DVLA, the ICAS, we are bringing them to the event ground for them to regularize their documents. Okay. Then, one thing I keep telling my commercial drivers, a very responsible driver will live long on this road. Now, who is a responsible driver? A driver is a driver who drives well, have some culture of saving. If you don't have money, that is when you want to go 3-4 times a day for long journeys. Yeah. So we bring in even banks on board so that these banks will register them, open accounts for them, savings account for them. Then when they go for their trips, they come, they save their money. So when you have some form of money, at least you see that
want to endanger
you don't want to endanger yourself. So Bank of Africa partnered us, Ghana Commercial Bank did same, and finally SNIT, the Tema Community 2 SNIT, said no, let's come on board, give these people some form of pension arrangements. So all this will be done at the Roadmaster event at the Chemu Park. Okay. So this is what we want to do.
Is that around the Chemu school?
Yes, that's where they use for the market those days when the COVID time. So when we do this, when we keep Tema alone safe, Tema is hub of transport. Yeah. When we keep Tema alone safe, it's good. Then lastly, one thing I want to say is when these drivers who also overload their trucks, we make them understand that loading this truck is making it difficult for you to drive.
And even wearing the road.
That is one cause why, that's why our motorway is in the state.
Yeah, yeah.
So when we tell them this, at least it will conscientize them for them to know that no, if the vehicle is lighter, you can control it.
Yeah. Pretty important points that are being made. I am so excited already. Will you be there tomorrow? Will you be there for the program, Ernestina?
Yes, I'll be there. I'll be giving the welcome address, actually.
Okay, that's exciting.
Yeah, so, I mean, we've been doing everything about the program, so I have to be there. It's a must for me. And let me also add, there's an insurance company also coming on board, Ghana Union Assurance, so that our drivers who do not have insurance for their cars can insure their cars over there as well. We have Guinness Ghana also sponsoring us. And also, I want to say a big thank you to Multimedia as well for partnering with us to, put this message out there to reach as many drivers as much as possible to come and learn and be trained. It's a workshop, so they will not be leaving empty-handed. We have Engine Ghana, who is also sponsoring us. They'll be giving us reflectors to give to these drivers. Because we noticed that one thing Timenka taught me was in the night, our street lights don't work. So let me not say some of them. And sometimes it becomes very dark. So what we should have are reflectors, so that in the middle of the night, whilst you are driving or whilst you are even walking on the road, you wear these reflectors. When a car is coming and it throws its light on you, you see that there is a figure or there is an individual walking on the road. Because you can cross at any time, anything can happen on the road. So we just want people to be safe. We know Christmas is coming. We want everybody to enter into 2024 election year, and we need the numbers. So, so we need everybody.
We need our lives for ourselves first.
Yeah, so we need everybody. Everybody must be alive. A parent must be alive for their children, because you have to be alive to take care of them. A child must also be alive for the family. So it's a collaborative thing we are doing with everybody.
Okay. So you talk about all of these programs. The drivers, is it anybody? If you're outside the Tema,
road driver,
come.
Yes, even pedestrian come, because you need to learn how to cross the road. We need to tell you how to cross the road, and we'll tell you the figures. Some of the figures we'll take it from the police, and the police commander, the regional MTTD commander, Superintendent Amwa, will be there to brief us on the gains so far, because some of these interventions by the National Police Office, they need to tell us the outcomes so far And that's, we need
to know where we are.
We are.
And how we can get to where we want to go.
How we can make it better.
We have to go, but in 20 seconds, final words. Ernestina, I'll start with you. Final words.
Yes. Fellow Ghanaians and everybody out there, this is Roadmaster Ghana, and we are inviting you to our Kenke Fest, our Kenke party, which is happening on 25th November, which is tomorrow. So we are inviting you to the Chemu Park Community 7. It's not a place that you would get lost. Just find your way to Community 7 and ask for the Chemu Park. And we are starting the program at 10 a.m. Everybody is welcome. Everybody, drivers, pedestrians, citizens, residents, everybody is invited. We've invited some of our MPs as well. Some figures are coming. We'll be having the DVLA, as he said. People are coming to teach you on how to be safe on your road. Christmas is coming. Come, learn. And our team, which says you should
drive safe.
No, drive smart. Stay safe, and we are uniting for safer journeys. We are all coming together so that we'll have safer journeys as we enter into 2024.
For you, Richard?
There's a journey ahead of us. Most of us want to be successful. Most of us want to be prosperous. If you don't live, or if you don't lead a life that will keep you alive, you won't achieve it.
Right.
The lives of Terry are gone. Terry Bochaka, they are gone. Today we'll have been having some beautiful dance hall. But where is he? We need to keep these people alive.
Right.
We need to keep everybody alive. The Roadmaster is here to stay. Thank you for your support.
The Roadmaster is here to stay. I'll say this, even if you just want to eat the kenke, you come. You will learn something and then you take it from there. Those who joined us for this conversation, Richard Temenka, of course, the Roadmaster, and Ernestina Ajo Dika, Director, Communication and Community Engagement with the Roadmaster. They both joined us for this conversation. Well, up next, the Presbyterian Boys SHS, that is PRESEC, the 1998 year group, is celebrating 25 years of graduating from senior high school. Ahead of that, they have some plans. They'll be engaging us on the show right after the break. Welcome back, and the Odadiers are in the building. You know, the group of people in the studio today, I think they could have made me kneel down because there would be one something ahead of me, so I don't want to, what else here? But they joined us to talk about what they are up to 25 years after graduating. It's all about their legacy project, and we have Odadie Darrow Maoto Abraham in the studio. We also have Odadie Okwampa Akoto. Hey. He's General Secretary, Odadie 98. Hey.
Thanks for having us.
Guys, you want to give me some Odadie treatment this morning?
No pressure, no pressure.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us.
Okay, so let's start with 98. That's been quite a while.
Yeah.
For some, I know with experience, you go to certain places and you say you left this system, what is now SHS, in the 90s and 90s. Wagwan, what's up? It's good to have you in the studio. Tell us a bit about what it's been like 25 years on as former students, you know.
Okay. All right. So the school started actually in 1938 in Krobodumasi, where some presbyters of Synod, the Presbyterian Church, decided that they wanted to train their own children according to the Presbyterian principles, the way Presbyterians train their children. And so they moved away from the Catholic schools, the Methodist schools, to set up their own. So they started with 16 students in Krobodumasi. The school ran for about 30 years after 1968. And then they realized that because they had churned out excellent and brilliant students who had taken various, positions within the country and outside the country. And so people had identified their school and they wanted to be in the school. They couldn't contain them there. And so they needed a bigger space.
Be a relocation.
So they moved from Krobodumasi to Accra. Mile 9 at Medina, which we now call the PRESEC campus. So the school started actually with arts subjects. And then when we came down, we added the sciences. And today, arguably, overall, in Ghana, West Africa, Africa, and we are targeting the world, the best school. That's what people don't understand. But it comes with a certain culture. It started from somewhere.
This table you are shaking.
That seed that was planted 1938 in Nkrobodumase today has generated a lot of fruits that is bearing, and it's all glaring for us.
Does that explain your linkage with Abri girls, though?
Yes.
The Nkrobodumase.
Yes. They were set up 8 years after we were set up, and this year we won our 8th trophy. So it's not just by chance. It's by prophecy.
They always have to rub it in. We had to. Because we joined the Brig Girls in celebrating their 77th anniversary last 2 weeks.
Right.
And they are joining us this year to celebrate our 85th by the 1998 year group. That's the beauty of it. I like these collaborations and how supportive the girls and boys schools can be. I think recently in my church I saw Hopsans together with Augustans, doing the things, and the Augustans had the Hopsa thing around them, and the girls had it was just beautiful. But let me come to you, Kofi.
That's it, Ram.
Okay, Abraham.
Whichever.
My apologies.
I respond to anything.
You respond to it? No, you can't. You must respond to your name. But in terms of how far you've come, now I know you have a system where after a certain number of years, you have your legacy project, and then you must deliver. And many schools are also doing that. The 98-year group. What have you been up to in that regard?
We've been building a legacy project which we are proud of as a year group. Now, when you leave the school after 25 years, you're expected to have achieved something in life. And I can say very boldly and proudly that a lot of our year group have achieved quite a lot.
Right.
And therefore, it's only fair and right that we give back to the school. It's only fair and right that we rebuild and contribute some of our earnings, some of what we've done to the school. I could probably talk a bit more about the actual detail of the project.
All right, so we decided to come out with a ceremonial grounds, first of its kind, in any school.
Ceremonial grounds.
Ceremonial grounds,
massive.
Where we have programs like the speech day and other, programs that tend to hold everybody. We used to have a number of 1,500 way back in 1998, the total from Form 1 to Form 3. Now we have a population of 5,000 and over. And so even as a new, assembly hall was built from a capacity of 1,300 to about 3,000, that one also cannot hold the current, students on campus. And so we needed somewhere that was open enough so that even when we had more than 5,000, we could just expand and then contain them. So currently, we came out with that plan and we have been able to deliver a project that started with about 600,000 cedis as the budget, ended up to about 1.2 million cedis, and we are proud to say that at least 50% of the work has been done. And currently, right now, as we're speaking, an award ceremony is going on, awarding Form 1s and Form 2 students who have achieved, various, faith in various capacities in terms of their education and then competitions that they have entered into. And then tomorrow, we have the main event. Tomorrow at 10 a.m., we have the main speech day on campus.
Okay, so 10 a.m. tomorrow, Legon, Presec, all roads lead there. You mentioned the sum of money. Can you reiterate again?
Yes, we spent about 1.2 million. That is the cost of the whole project.
CDs.
So this is it. The project has a days that is where we to hold all dignitaries. It's about 60-seater capacity. So we have the president, the vice president, and all their dignitaries on top. And then down there, it's able to contain about 3,500 students at a go.
Okay.
Seated.
This is huge.
Right. Yes. You're talking about 5,000.
Yes. And then we had designed in such a way that it has various tents that are designed to hold. For instance, if Joy News wants to sponsor, when you sponsor with an amount of 35,000 cedis, your logo is embossed on it as somebody who has invested in the school and to be there forever. So your children and your children's children will come and see the kind of things that you've done. But this was something that was generated by the 98-year group. And everything about the project was done by us with a combination of various classes, from the science class to general arts to economics, the business class, and visual arts and agri, whatever. So the agri students were in charge of, looking at the...
So all of you had something to contribute.
Yes.
Let me come to Abraham. So in respect of this, how have you broken down this bit and been able to get the support? Because I know there's Odadia Global, there's Odadia, the local chapter and all of that. How have you gone about it? And what more can we expect come tomorrow?
There's a lot more to expect. The key thing to say is that in the Odadia group, everybody who went to Protect, if you look at your company, look at the top companies in the country, look at the top banks in the country, the top investment companies, everywhere you look, there is an Odadia somewhere, right? So we have the expertise.
Here, the top media brand.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
You have a certain Odadia who is on the other side of the set, trying to interfere with my business because the Odadias are here.
Of course. So we practically help run the nation, and that's how Protect brought us up to be responsible, strong, moral citizens of Ghana, right? So in our own right as individuals, in our own right as past students, we have the expertise, we have the skill, and we have the knowledge and experience to contribute to that project. So that project was always going to be a success. So our year group was 440 people or 430 people, something like that. There is enough expertise across that board. So when we bring them together and say, what can you do? What is your expertise? What are you good at doing? You will see that people have skills beyond what you can imagine. And everybody brought that together, plus our financial resources. This project was going to be a doddle because it is Protect. We run the country, we run the town, so it happens. It wasn't a problem at all. It's okay, just nod and carry it.
Okay, for the sake of charity, I will not let this beef could have gone on. But it's always good when you have other schools doing this. I think, was it Mboba came here the other day and they were also doing something in sports, which I actually feel if it is replicated. So it's all about, these people are doing something wonderful. Can it be replicated? Yeah. It shouldn't be about, we have the wrangling in there, but it should all end in positivity.
Sure.
And so it's wonderful what you're doing, like you say, the first of its kind. Yeah. What can we expect tomorrow? Tomorrow is it's a major event. So what can we look forward to?
Tomorrow, we are officially adoring, the 8th trophy and then, launching into the 9th. So that we'll be knighted next year. And that will be held by the 1999 year group. And look out, Joy, for their project. I have seen it, it's out of this world.
Mind-blowing, yeah?
Yes, it's mind-blowing. They themselves are scared of their project, but then it's going to come. And we are all going to support. Yeah. Tomorrow, we have invited all our year groups from various schools, the 1998 year group. We had a walk somewhere earlier in March this year, and they've given us the support that they are coming. But then we are also having our ladies, at our back. They are supporting us very well. We have the 1998, best farmer, who is also a pre-second 78-year group who is chairing the event.
Oh, so 20 years on, he became best farmer.
And then one of our own, Dr. Delali Fiagbe, who is also giving the keynote speech. He is the head of psychiatry. And then we have Dr. Santipoku, who is
he's country director for an investment firm, a British investment firm. Is that the right thing?
Yes, British, yes. And so that is the equivalent of IFC here.
Yes.
Yeah. So he is also giving us a speech as a special guest of honor. And then we have our global president, Dr. Ofori Sapon, Special Eyes. And then we have a number of other years taking various that is our 98-year group, taking various activities there. We are also officially giving out or giving the legacy projects to the school today. And then tonight we having our ladies and our homecoming night. And if you miss this one,
that when you got to the homecoming night, all of a sudden you started
it comes with a certain
like you were talking then once you got to the night and dinner and everything, then
because
your face
the feeling is so
great.
I can't even explain it. So the action tells I mean, if you miss it, watch the idea.
All right. All right.
Because we have a whole lot packed so you drop. Yes. And then we follow it up with the speech day tomorrow.
Don't get too tired for tomorrow.
Everybody's invited.
Don't expend all your energy tonight so that you get tired for tomorrow. Anyway.
And then on Sunday, I think on Sunday we have the Thanksgiving service as well, and we are all doing white.
Okay. Because where are you going?
On the same venue.
There's only one place.
Same
there's
venue,
only one place in the world you need to be this weekend, really. So you don't have to look too far.
You have prayed to God for a very good...
Solid point. I'm supposing even if you are not an Odadia, you can pass through and lend them your support. We've given them our support here, and we're always proud to also stand by you and, urge you on to greater exploits. In the end, it is all in the name of Ghana.
Sure.
And so we support you on that. Any final words? Maybe some 10 seconds each?
Final words is, Persec is one of the best schools in the country, in the world, right? And whether you are somebody who's aspiring to go to Persec, you've got a kid who wants to go to Persec, it is possible, okay? I came from Medina, nothing. I was able to go to Persec, and I've done great things in my life. It's a great way to train yourself. So if you're thinking about it, consider it. Send your kids to Persec. Support someone who goes to Persec. If you know anybody who goes to Persec, give them a shout out and support them. That's the final words. And thanks for having us. It's great.
Thanks for coming. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So for me, we have done so well such that people are beginning to hate us. But you don't need to hate us. Just come along. We need to network. We need to partner in various ways in order to achieve what you want to achieve. And if you want to take your kid to any school, apart from Persec, and you don't get the subject that you want your kid to do, let him try anything else. The person is going to come out successful in that thing. A lot of us went through doing science, and we have come out with various backgrounds.
It reminds me of school back then. Because of my aggregate, they wanted me to. I said, no, this is not what I want to do. Back then they'll push you.
Yes.
Oh, you get a certain idea, you go and do science.
And we have done well for ourselves because of the training. In fact, the Christian training. Our school song says, for Christian training, we get a sure, solid foundation to take our places in the future of our country and the church.
That's what we've done.
Well, you've heard it all from the Odadie 98 group. This evening, there's that dinner. They're hosting their girls. And then tomorrow, the main event. And it's going to be butu-butu. It's going to be big. If you are minded to do so, you can actually pass through. I have just seen, I wish we could pan the camera to him. And Odadie, our in-house Odadie, he terrorizes everybody when they win the trophy. I'll for good reason not mention his name, but when I go up the set, I'll deal with him because he would have been my junior. Those who joined us on the set, Daryl Mauto Abraham, Odadie 98, and Kofi Okwampa Akoto, General Secretary, Odadie 98. Let's help them celebrate this in style with that legacy project. Stay with us when we return. It is day 2 of the Habitat Fair, Joy News EcoBank Habitat Fair. It's ongoing and already amazing things are happening. We're going to be talking about that right up next on the show. Welcome back. We'll bring you more on the Habitat Fair later, but stay with us for the live action that we'll be bringing you intermittently on radio, for example, about the Habitat Fair at the Accra International Conference Center. Note, we started yesterday with the opening and everything. Major companies there. If you're thinking roofing, we've got you covered. If you're thinking water storage, we've got you covered. If you're thinking electricals, we've got you covered. If you're thinking lighting, we've got you covered. If you're thinking building materials, we've got you covered. I mean, everything, windows, panels, everything that goes into a building. Iron rods, we did there, you understand? So just come through the fair morning till late in the evening. It started yesterday. Today it's going down at the Accra International Conference Center. Tomorrow, the weekend installment is also there. Saturday, Sunday. You miss it, you miss out. And here's the juicy part. When you come through the Joy News EcoBank Habitat Fair, you get special deals. I know of entities offering 10% off, discounts, 15%, 20%, and all of that. What do you want? So come through and let's give you the juiciest deals. But at this juncture, I want you, and I noticed today when I shared my blunt thoughts on the 24-hour economy, breaking it down for you, showing you what has been said, what has been touted, what has been negated, what has been denigrated, and the examples from other places. A lot of you had thoughts to share. We're activating the phone lines. It is your turn now to share with us what your thinking is. You can share your thoughts on the 24-hour economy. You can share your thoughts on some of the promises that are being made left, right, center from different parts of the political divide. You can also share your thoughts on any matters of concern to you in your community and the nation at large. You know the number to call, 0302 211 691. 0302 211 691. Now, this morning, I shared a number of things with you, but before I go into that, Eric is on the line. Eric, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Benjamin. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for calling.
You're looking so sweet and good.
Pardon me.
Yeah, I want to touch on a few things, okay?
Right.
Yeah, Mr. Kapo, we need to speak up and we'll speak up. Okay, you are doing a very good job together with your colleagues. I'm from Western region.
Okay.
To be precise. And trust me, with issues, I'm going to touch on two issues with the mining sector and as well as the 24-hour is that President Mahama had suggested.
Right.
I think the chiefs and opinion leaders, and including Western region, the elites, those who have the opportunity to defend that region, are not doing the needful. Okay, in the sense that because I'm from there, I went there just a few weeks ago, and trust me, it's so pathetic. It's so pathetic. What we are seeing on the screen is even just an I'll say that 50% of it. On the ground you go, it's totally different. Why are we doing this to ourselves? Why are we destroying our own land and forest? Then we come and we blame ourselves. So I'm pleading with the authorities that please, they should be up and do. They shouldn't sit for things to get worse before we come and we blame each other, blah, 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 blah. And on the second issue too, with issue to the 24-hour economy, I think it's feasible if we go inside and see if those countries that are practicing. Already Ghana is also experiencing, I would say partially, experiencing that 24 hours from Wednesday up to Sunday to Monday, you go to town, you want to get any ride from a point to another, maybe from Medina to Accra, you get it. So it's feasible. They should think through and see how best it can help, but they shouldn't think of quote, the political word, something that is going to benefit the ordinary person on the street. So thank you for listening.
Thank you very much for calling and sharing your thoughts. Let's get on to the next caller now. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Unfortunately, the line dropped. If you are the one who called, or if you're minded to do so, please call and share your thoughts with us. 0302 211 691. What is your thinking? 24-hour economy, roads, hospitals. We have a caller from East Legon. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning. What's your name, please?
Yeah, good morning. My name is Wadada from East Legon.
Wadada. Okay. Yeah. Is that your real name?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Go ahead, Wadada.
What I have to say is this upcoming political season, I think the media has a lot of work to do. Let's request Ghanaians to come and understand what is going on, because NDC will say this and MCC will come and counter it. MCC will say something, NDC will come and counter it, and then we, the Ghanaians in the middle, are confused.
Yeah.
So I expect the media to do a lot of work to help us. The one who is not saying the right thing will be exposed so that we know what is going on.
Did you watch my Wadada? Did you watch my blunt thoughts this morning? I did exactly that for you on the 24-hour economy. If you didn't catch it, you should watch it and share as well. I did exactly that for you. We've done the research for you and given you the verdict. So you decide what to think on that. But thank you, Wadada, for sharing your thoughts with us. We have a few more minutes, a small window if you want to call and share your thoughts. And sometimes you call and share the problems in your community. And that's how it starts. We get on it, we talk about it, we raise concerns, and then the work gets done. Remember, I came here, spoke about the bad connection, roads to Kolebu. In a little over a week, it was done. So if you want your stuff done, you can call into the show. Let us know. All the way from Sunyani, we have Emmanuel. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I hope you're well, Emmanuel. What are your thoughts for us?
Yes, yeah, please. I want to comment on the program. Yeah, about 24-hour economy. This Europe and all. They go there because, they have practiced this 24 economy, which is helping them. So I think it's a good thing. Why are they trying to kind of suggest that it's not good? We should encourage so that if they implement it, it will help us. So that the youth who are unemployed, they can get some job to do.
All right. Thank you, sir, for calling and sharing your thoughts on this matter. I think we have room for maybe one or maximum two more calls. If there are any thoughts you'd like to share, now is the time to actually share that. The number to call, 0302-211-691. It's at the bottom of your screen, but I'm just repeating it for you. Felix, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Where are you calling from, Felix?
Yes, I'm calling from Akachi North.
Akachi North in the Volta region, right?
Yeah, please, the part of the issue is that, already we are having hospitals, bars are operating 24. So I don't see the reason. And already, we already have an agreement with what? With IMF, which says that our power, let's say our electricity tariffs will be increased every 3 months. Every 3 months. And the agreement was by 2020, if I may not mistake, in 2020. Right now, our ex-president...
I do not know about that specific bit you've mentioned, but you go ahead. Hello, Felix. Felix, he was saying something about something in the IMF program, and I was saying that I wasn't aware of that specific bit, that every 3 months it will go up and all of that. Sometimes the different pieces of information we get, we just have to screen them to be sure we are saying the right thing. That's why I had to quickly issue that disclaimer out there. We have a last caller, Kobe from Kumasi. Good morning, Kobe.
Yes, sir.
Kobe, I can hear you. Yes, please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Sir, what I want to say is that our standard, Ghana, we can't.
What is Ghana's standard? What is Ghana's standard?
24 hours listen now.
Kobe, what is Ghana's standard? You say per our standard, we can't.
The foundation is for even common internet. We are struggling of internet. Wi-Fi cannot be connected to other many places. Sir, we can. So I think these are our political parties. They will not help us. These are two political parties. They will not help us. So it's time Ghanaians sack all of them, and then we bring another person. Thanks, sir.
All right. That's our final caller. But this is all that I will say, though. Singapore didn't become Singapore. It took them over 30 years, and now it's been 50 years plus. So at what point will you start? That is the question. You say we don't have the basics. To an extent, I agree with you. Internet connectivity and all of that. But you must start from somewhere, right? And to all of you talking about the 24-hour economy, I shared this morning, it's racked up quite a number of views up to this point on Facebook. Joy News on Facebook. It will be on YouTube as well. Just go and watch it and learn. Let me put it that way. There are so many dynamics. Other countries have done it. Other countries have done different things. Of course, you must look at your own context. Is it viable? Is it practicable, possible in Ghana? Well, it depends on you and me. It depends on us. It's not about the political party. It doesn't really matter. Because like I said, the 40-year development plan, how many years ago? It was in there. Nothing was done. In 2020, both the NDC and the All People's Congress, Hassan Ayariga and former President Mahama, they both had them in their manifestos. The point is, it doesn't matter where it's from. It's like free SHS. Good thing. Good thing. No one can run away from that. But for me, the problem is the implementation with all the bottlenecks. But it's a good thing. So regardless of the party, will it work for Ghana? That's what we ought to be looking at. And for me, I'm always passionate about the brand Ghana. I pray for a better Ghana every day. If it becomes better, we all enjoy. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. Thank you for watching this day's installment, this Friday installment of the AM show. We'll catch up again same time next week if God gives us life. But for now, we're capping off the show. Joy News Desk is up next. Do stay for that.